Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of the wonderful human race. I say wonderful, there are many flaws with it. But welcome one and all to the Blackout Racing League. My goodness, it's round 13 and 14 already. How about that? How about that? Tonight, we head over to the Canadian Grand Prix and the Austrian Grand Prix. And as far as I'm aware, Canada is a 50% race today, and Austria is a 35% race. For those of you that want to see the calendar, here's the calendar. Okay, now moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I mean, there's not been a lot to speak about, really, in the world of Formula 1. And there's nothing really to recall in the world of... Actually, no, there is. There is a little bit. In qualifying, there was a thrilling battle for pole position. A massively thrilling battle. Jamie Tarquin, with his first lap in as a reserve for the Williams team, came round the final corner, claimed pole position. It was only Thanassi. Oh, wait, it was in the Alpine. No, Jamie Tarquin was in the Alpine, wasn't he? He was in the Alpine. Never mind. Screw me. Jamie Tarquin was in the Alpine last time, and he got pole position, but it was his teammate, Thanassi, who was on his flying lap. His last flying lap was the provisional pole sitter up till that point. But unfortunately, as he came halfway around his lap, EA Sports said no. Or should I say Codemasters said no. So we thought, okay, it's blue ball Thanassi slightly. He has his pooch has been screwed, which is why Codemasters are now on a restraining order. But crucially, that would not happen in the race, right? I wish it didn't as well. Yes, in absolutely comical fashion, in the race, exactly the same thing happened. Einstein normally says, if you try the same thing twice and expect different results, that is insanity. Unfortunately, Codemasters have been insane since F1 2014. But anyway, actually, no, we can indulge ourselves here because we do have to remember at this point that there was a thrilling conclusion to the Brazilian GP, which I will show up for you right now. So let's go and find it through the archives. Here we go. Spell that out there. Oh, there it is. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that's only part of the results because apparently they've gone for a walk. Let's make that a bit smaller, and there we go. That's very nice. Wonderful. So there were the Brazilian Grand Prix results. Now, I know what you're thinking. Karl, you fool. Jamie Tarquin and Thanassi were at the front of the field, and Milo had just gone on to soft tyres. Well, to that I say, you are right, but unfortunately, some wild things happened in the final few laps. There was, I don't know, there was some shouting, there was some talk about a bear of some kind. So the reason why Jamie Tarquin ended up finishing 13th, he actually fought the bear in hand-to-hand combat and won. Unfortunately for him, the FIA stewards didn't see it that way, and so he stayed P13. I actually scored points that race, and I circled that just to hammer the point home. I do actually have 2 points to my name, so if that can go on the championship standings, I'll be very happy indeed. Thank you. It also didn't discount one man from finding himself in trouble with the stewards, and that's Esteban Ocon, who found himself disqualified at the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Gianluca Petikov didn't even race, but still managed to finish outside the top 10. So well done him, I guess. Dirk ended up 7th, Space Ghost 3rd, Giraffe and Slam ended up 2.35th and 2.92th, respectively. Merc friends they are. Merc friends, should I say. Oh, God. But either way, I don't think it really matters what is said and what is done, because at the end of the day, my husband, Magico, and I must say, while we are engaged in that particular eventuality, he was engaged in wheel-to-wheel, pedal-to-the-metal stuff, which is very zesty indeed, but more to the point, he won the Brazilian Grand Prix by a number of weeks, to be honest with you. It wasn't even close. So there you go. And that's all we really have to show for it. What I'm actually going to do now, just to indulge you a little bit, is not check if F1 23 is up and running, because it's just crashed. That's good, isn't it? It's all going to plan here. Let me get some music on very lightly in the background. That's not lightly. That's more lightly. Good. It's working for now. Touch wood. Codemasters. Anyways, what can we expect from the Canadian and Austrian Grand Prix? Well, weather dependent. Remember, Canada being a street circuit, it's precarious. It's claustrophobic. It's going to be cataclysmic for some of the drivers. Or perhaps someone will control the chaos and come out on top. We will find out very soon. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So, into Lobet I go. Not going to show you it, because I feel like however many of you that are watching this might dox it. Lol, joking. It's probably just me by myself. I am lonely. Anyway. Thanassi's back for this week. Oh no. Anyway, elsewhere, a lot of the drivers remain the same. In fact, it's quite a small grid today. Only apparently 15 of them are ready and waiting for this particular occasion. I might even start driving, to be honest with you. And we know how well that went last time at the Monaco Grand Prix. So I'd rather not do that again, to be honest with you. But you never know. Things could get very interesting. Now, what I'm actually going to do is head on to TikTok, because I am going to, just to judge exactly how well today is going to go, I am going to sim my Formula 1 career. That's what I'm going to do. I found Matt212's TikTok. I don't know how to feel about that. Use this effect. Alright, here we go. I might actually edit this on top. So, we're gonna start our career. We're gonna start in Formula 3 and be humble is what we're gonna do. You're gonna see this actually. I'm probably gonna put it alongside ART in Formula 3. That's decent. In fact, that's more than decent. Let's start Formula 3. I've been in there for 1 year. That can only mean good things. Finished 4th. It's the first of the losers, unfortunately. I'm not too happy about that. But continuing on to Formula 2 now. We got 4th in Formula 3 after just 1 year. We go to the VAR. Luckily, with their lack of seeing the white lines, we'll be in good stead. So let's start our Formula 2 career with Van Amersfoort. But apparently 2 years, we finished 3rd. We'll take that. So, our 3-star thing up at the top is at 63. No idea what that means. Apparently, it's only lasting for 60 seconds as well, so you'll never see this. Hi, husband. How are you doing? 2 teams are apparently very interested in my services. One of which is Red Bull, and I think for the scope of success, I'm going to have to choose them. Still, only 12 people in the lobby. So we'll carry on with Red Bull. I got... no, go back. We're finishing off my career. But I got 9 pole positions, 3 fastest laps, and 9 podiums, crucially. Williams and McLaren are now my next 2 options. I'm sure you'll be interested to know. I'm going to stay with my current team, Red Bull, because you'd be silly not to. I got less podiums than last season. That's not great, to be honest with you. One team is impressed with me, and it's Alpine. That's not a good sign. Let's try again, then. I have more faith. And we do get 1 more podium than last time. It's less pole positions, but I was never a qualifying merchant, so that's okay. Alpine again are interested in me. Lads, I'm not interested in you. I have a wife, husband. The lines are blurred. It's 2023. But 2 teams are interested in me now. Aston Martin and... Oh, good Lord, Haas. No, staying with Red Bull. I'm going to be a Red Bull merchant throughout my whole career, unless another big team comes a knocking. It looks like 2 teams are interested. AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. I'm going to stay with Red Bull, though. I'm a one-man team with 10 pole positions, 4 fastest laps, and 7 podiums. Alfa Romeo and Haas. I'm going to have to stay with Red Bull and manage them, I'm afraid. So, career high. I don't know what that means. My most successful circuit was Hungaroring, apparently. Wins. I got 25. It's a quarter of a century. We take those. Championship. I got 1 world championship. Let's go. Career points. Gimme. 1,535. Red Bull's cooking. Hall of Fame. I'm not in the Hall of Fame. Well, I think that was a shambles of a career, really. And I never want to do that ever again as long as I live. So let's check the lobby and see if things are getting zesty. The answer is no, not yet. So I'm going to resim it because I can't be bothered. And do you know what? Just for the fun of it, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to... Oh, no, not do that. I am going to Looking forward to some absolute madness tonight. So am I, Big Sam. So am I. It's going to be very, very entertaining indeed, I'll be honest with you. Make that visible. For some reason, it's just not doing it. I didn't want it anyway. Screw off. Check if the lobby's ready now. Oh, never mind. We'll have to do it in a safety car break or something. That's what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be my indulgence. Actually, no, probably not. I couldn't care less about TikTok for the most part. So let's jump to where we are extremely familiar and head to F123. We had a falling out last time out, let me tell you. It was an absolute car crash from start to finish. Hardly anyone here ready for the qualifying gauntlet, but that's okay. Less traffic, more opportunity to get a clean lap in, and that'll be crucial for the however many drivers that are here today. 12 drivers here for the Canadian Grand Prix. So let's find out what's cooking in the hood. Well, for a start, there's no Williams cars, which is a mightily interesting eventuality, which means Dirk cannot possibly be the first one out onto the track. I'll tell you who else could be, though, and that is Mr. Captain Wilco. So let's wait here, and let's find out if he does indeed end up being the first one out to maul his way through Montreal, and the answer is yes to that particular question. Captain Wilco, the Aston Martin driver, didn't really go his way at the Brazilian Grand Prix, but luckily it doesn't matter because it's now null and void. Out of the pits he goes, don't cross the white line, and for not crossing the white line, that is a 10 out of 10 effort there from Mr. Wilco. Out of the pits next, you know, it's Buck 57, and then who else to follow him, but not his Buck counterpart. It's actually Guardian, who's taken over that second McLaren seat from Mr. Milo, whose presence he has not graced us with his presence here at Montreal. Waiting for that M&M combination, but unfortunately, I didn't get any bars. That was almost a chocolate pun and a rapper's pun, all in one there. Subscribe and follow for more. Like I said, street circuit, dependent on the weather as well, things could get quite interesting. If it starts raining later, you want to get that lap time in earlier, while the track's at its driest, and make the most of the optimal conditions. Perhaps by going out first, you put pressure on those who are waiting in the pit lane for that optimal moment, perhaps making them wait too long or pulling the trigger too early. That's the aim of the game. And no, this isn't an ABBA convention, but Captain Wilco is on another voyage as he heads through the final chicane, and we ride on the board with the Capitan. Over the start-finish line we go. Here's a lap of the Montreal circuit, the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. You can cut that first curve a little bit, but hold it tight on the second, and then plant the power as early as you can, threading the needle with confidence through there, through this curve, not just cutting it to the absolute limit of perfection. Fantastic stuff. Purple Sector 1, because it's the only one that's done it. This is probably the trickiest one in terms of a traction zone, and in terms of just coaxing the car through the corner, just to circumnavigate it and sweep out the other end. Underneath the bridge, braking as you get underneath, clip the first curb, and then ride that second curb like a skateboard as we now make our way down towards the hairpin. Brake as late as you dare. About the 100-meter board, and he gets the car to almost a standstill. Supreme confidence on the brakes as he now toboggans down towards the final chicane. DRS wide open. There's the opening of the flap. Twitch, please don't ban me. To the final chicane. Braking points and turning points changed a little bit as they've actually updated it, so thank you, Codemasters. Narrowest line of attack towards the line. The banker is a 1 minute 11.9. 0.19. I can read. But a great start there from this session. Buck 57, a half a second behind. And then it'll be Guardian to cross the line next, but he's invalidated his lap. He'll be going again. It's actually Buck 20, his teammate just ahead of him on the track, who started his flying lap. It's Maximus trying to make the most of this particular lap. clouting the curbs at the final chicane. Pedal to the metal stuff. How much iron does he have on him? Not that much, unfortunately. It's the last of the time set so far. Where can King Didi go? It's behind again. Next up will be an Aston Martin, and it'll be Stark who goes fastest. Hardly anything to separate the Aston Martin teammates. Fine margins here at the Canadian Grand Prix straight away. Just over 300ths between Stark and Wilco. And as long as the servers don't crash, and I don't have to flaunt my artistic skills and plethora of artistic knowledge, I'll be very happy indeed with what's in store. Thanassi crosses the line to start his first lap of the session. Spark 20, that'll be next across the line though. DRS open, riding on board towards the final chicane. Buck 20 gone for 300, 500 wings today. A little bit more understeer, but still gluing onto the track like a gorilla. Towards the line, and it is third fastest currently, but hardly anything to separate the top three. Now Guardian can cross the line, and it's another invalidated lap time. Looks like it was the final chicane as well, because, well, the stewards only see red. And that means one thing. He's dead into barrier. I hope that's not an omen. Anyway, King Didi into the pit lane. Vulcan, I assume, also into the pit lane. It'll be slammer-jammering his way towards the final chicane. The lone Mercedes man. Although I thought I saw Giraffe enter the fray, and he has indeed. There he is. Just entered in P11. What can his teammate Slam do, though? Cross the line, P4. Okay, bit of zest from the Mercedes man. That Mercedes livery is black and he's turning everyone's dreams into the darkest of nightmares, or at least that's the aim. Looking to go one better, and there he is. And the reason I don't sound surprised is because, what did you expect? He comes back like he's hardly ever left, drops half a second on the head-tops of the rest of the grid. And the championship leader, the man who's looked invincible almost every time, he's sat foot in a Formula 1 car. Doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. He's even set a purple Sector 1 just for fun, and then almost lost the car on the exit to make things a tiny bit interesting. But no, he does keep it together, and that will be P1 by just over half a second for Thanassi. So then, most of the grid sets their lap times. Here comes my husband. Magico ventures out of the pit lane. Look how graceful he is. Mate, those hips don't lie. Have you seen them? Shakira, please don't copyright me. It's just a quote, okay? Mercedes of Giraffe, the unsung hero of qualifying just 2 rounds ago. And even the unsung hero in Blackout in general so far. I love the way he's stuck his neck out. Been the longest of the grid. Sounds weird, actually. I'm really sorry, mate. Terziak as well. Robbed of a final qualifying lap last round. Robbed of a potential race win last time out. This time, hopefully, there will be no eventuality as such, though. The man on the move, though, is this man, Maximus. Or he would be if he hadn't cut the corner like cheese. Now, Stark, though, he's on a lap. He hasn't invalidated it. And he's sending the Energizer Bunny into the incinerator. You love to see it as he heads through the left-hander. Not too much curve. The car can bottom out, but good confidence out of the right-hander. Lets the tyres bite into the bitumen and rockets his way towards the right-hander, which then will turn into a left-hander, because that's how that chicane works. Following the AWS sponsorship, it's Black Friday sales soon. Stay tuned. Into the hairpin. Just after the 100-meter board on the left, brakes as hard as he dares, pinches the car in for that late apex, gets it straight like an arrow, and oh, well, Wilco's on a lap, but perhaps giving Wilco DRS, that could be the plan, and he has indeed sped up to give Wilco a little bit of slipstream on this second to last straight. I'll tell you what, is supreme teamwork as Stark, oh no, it's not supreme teamwork! It's choreographed chaos from the Aston Martin duo. Stark now ends up in the pit lane with a face to earth. Unbelievable. What I thought was a choreographed completion of absolute unparalleled brilliance has been completely nullified. And I've no idea what the communication was for that, but I can only assume that it was done by Pigeon. Meanwhile, not King Didi, my apologies, Giraffe has set his first lap time in the session, 1 minute 12.6. Plenty of time to find, though, still. And with 9 minutes to go and a track length that is not too long at all, then, well, there's still many a fairy tale to happen yet. Unless your name is Thanassi, in which case the fairy tale just writes itself, really, let's be honest. Here's a tip for everyone that's driving, for those of you that are listening. If you are needing to get a final qualifying lap in, just pretend your router's disconnected as Terziak sets his first lap of the session. My apologies again. Not noticing the man on the move in the Alpine car, the lone Alpine driver, sends the Endstone outfit into raptures, into second place, only 2/10 off Thanassi. And once again, it could get zesty for Zeus up at the top. He's not got the firmest stranglehold on that pole position. So best be warned, anything could happen in this game. Magico, meanwhile, looking to set the record straight. And no, it's not the marriage papers. They're already long signed. It's getting through that final chicane, which he has navigated just supremely across the line. It's P10, but that's pole position in my book because it has a 1 in it. But if that's the case, then has Vulcan taken double pole? I don't know, it's confusing me. Anyway, Buck 20, he's out for another lap and he's out for blood. That's disgusting. Please don't do that. That's unhygienic. But across the line goes Buck 20 into the 1 minute 10s and hardly behind Terziak as well. What can Guardian do? Does he finally get a lap in? The answer is no. The track is red. Oh dear. Did you catch Aston's shocking teamwork? I saw what was going on and then I saw it all capitulate. And that's all that you really need to know, to be honest with you. So yes, I did catch it. You nearly killing Wilco. I was almost classified as attempted murder. I can't lie. But oh well. There's still some minutes, if I can see without the yellow flag. 7 minutes. As my game is lagging like mad. But it can't be lagging that badly. Yeah, we've agreed that the best thing I can do to help Wilco is not to go out for another lap. Fair enough. Well then. At least the Aston Martin team have their priorities straight, as you can tell. Guardian has retired from the session, meanwhile. He's headed off to say hello to the fans, just like Alonso did in 2017, although in somewhat different circumstances. Maximus out on a lap again, though, and this time his lap is not red, much like his car. He doesn't want his lap time to look red. He's actually set a purple Sector 1. And now things can start to get a little bit fruity. One papaya man is down. And a fruity Ferrari sets about taking his spot in glory. Cuts that curb absolutely beautifully. Just about doesn't get invalidated. That's to the limit there from Maximus. Really is maximising it, if you know what I'm saying. Through the hairpin he goes. Late apex. Straighten out the car. Dart out of it like a bullet. Tyres grip up like nothing else. I was going to think of an analogy there, but it was almost too fruity to say on Twitch. Towards the final chicane, the final part, and he does indeed get it over the line. It will not be invalidated for the Ferrari man. Across the line, and it's P4. Neat little lap there from Maximus. Fantastic stuff. Almost breaking into that 1 minute 10 region. He has plenty of time to go out for one more, but it's encouraging stuff and it boosts the confidence even more for the prancing horse driver. Mercedes, though, line astern, and line astern into the pit lane. So there was some teamwork going on there, a bit of slipstream into the pit lane. Perhaps they were rehearsing what Aston Martin were trying to do earlier. Although if they actually do it and end up going into the pit lane anyway, then they really have screwed it up. Who else is out and about? Well, the answer is Thanassi's out for an outlap. With a few minutes to go, clearly thinking it's the prime time into turn 1. Bit of hesitation on the turn-in then. Guardians left the session. Apparently Bucks just started playing F123 again, so I've no idea what's happened. Into that second chicane. Again, a bit of time on the table in that right-hander, but gets it all together for the second part. Late as you dare for the left-hander. Chooses not to get as much curb on the inside. Instead, lets the car stabilise itself and flies through that chicane. Planting the power down under the bridge. Brakes as soon as that shadow starts. Clips the right-hander a little bit. A bit of a slide on the left-hander, though. And that might have lost him just a bit too much time. A little mistake creeping in there. It's still a purple Sector 2 despite everything. And a bit of a lock on the brakes. And using all of the road and then some out of the hairpin. That extra rotation being divulged. And then the DRS being opened. Under the Rolex sponsorship, but his time on his side. That's what we're going to find out very shortly. Pirelli on the right. Hopefully he doesn't explode as he crosses the line. And it's still a 1 minute 10.2. An improvement of just over 3 tenths, maybe 3.5 tenths of a second. But it's certainly not out of the question as to whether he's absolutely got pole position. Pole position is not signed, sealed, and delivered just yet. There is still plenty to go on. Starks realised he could have got straight on into the pits as he wanted to go there anyway. Unfortunately, intelligence go down in that particular situation. I am very sorry. But, you know, for next time, if you ever need to choreograph that again, you know what to do. That's the crucial thing. F1 is all about trial and error, really. And Aston Martin clearly sticking to their game plan because Wilco, the lone Aston Martin, out on the track so far. Towards the final chicane. Through the final chicane. Onto the straight. And away we go for another lap of Montreal. No, my husband's on a lap. Here we go. Down the straight. DRS open, obviously. You know the drill by now here at the Montreal. Using a bit of curbs here at the chicane. Car remains mercifully nice and stable. So that is optimal indeed for Mr. Magico. As he conjures up something incredible through the hairpin. Looks good from the outset. We need the onboard to confirm whether he actually kissed that apex. In which case I have to question his loyalties. Now down under the Rolex sponsorships. Once again the question is asked. Will we stop the count after this lap? We'll have to find out. Time running out towards getting pole position. And he has invalidated his lap at the final chicane. Luckily, if he does just cool the car down and cool down the battery, he will get one more lap in at the end of this session. But that is not what he wanted to do here in the final moments of Canada qualifying. Instead, it'll be Terziak who started a lap and Wilco soon to finish his lap. No invalidation at the final chicane. Let's see what Wilco does. It's P2. Just under, well, just over 4 tenths behind Thanassi. As out of the pits comes the championship leader. And that got a bit frosty, didn't it? Some drive to survive drama there as Wilco gets out of the way. Almost does a Max Verstappen in 2017. And by that, parking up. That seemed to be what most of Max Verstappen's season was. Oh my God, Terziak with a 1 minute 9.9. Where did that come from? Out of absolutely nowhere. Yes, I said Thanassi did make mistakes on his lap. You can see it from the onboard. But that is an absolutely lavish and luscious lap from the Alpine driver. Incredible stuff there. Gotta really give Terziak his flowers. He is putting pressure on Thanassi. The championship leader does not have it all his own way by any stretch of the imagination. My goodness me. Buck 57 retires from the session. Meanwhile, where's Thanassi in comparison? The answer is weaving down the straight. And if he does get a move on, he's going to be careful not to invalidate at the chicane. I think he'll have one more chance and one more timed lap here in this session. We're going to ride on board for a brief moment before we watch the Aston Martin. Oh no! Stark with an accident at the wall of champions. He is a victor in Blackout in F1 23, but not a champion as of yet. In the case of Terziak, that will not matter. And soon the Aston Martin will be cleared out of the way. But devastation for the Aston Martin driver. It would have been pushing to the absolute limit. And Barriard does get a firm smooch. Vulcan crosses the line up into P9. Very nicely done. King Didi will not improve at the end of this session. He will start, well, at most from P10, but we'll find out as others complete their laps. Giraffe doesn't complete it. Magico through the final chicane, doesn't invalidate it this time. And towards the line, shortest line of attack, it will be P9. Overthrows the Haas driver. Terziak retires from the session. And now it's a nervous wait as Maximus cannot improve. It's buck 20. And Thanassi. Thanassi's got DRS and slipstream from the McLaren man. And that might be a chance for him. No, it isn't. It isn't the chance he required. It isn't that extra boost to propel him to pole position. Terziak's done it again here in Blackout. An absolutely stratospheric scenario. And a lavish lap from the Alpine man has wrapped up pole position at the Canadian Grand Prix. A dramatic conclusion to Montreal qualifying. It had, well, not it all, to be honest with you, but it had some zesty moments at the very conclusion. And it results in only one thing. Terziak, the only man in the 1 minute 9s. My word. What an end to qualifying for the Alpine driver. Scintillating spectacle as he takes pole ahead of the championship leader. Not all is set in stone. Wilco claims P3, buck 20 ends up in P4 ahead of Maximus in P5. Couldn't improve on his final showing, but, well, the showing he had previously was brilliant. Stark in 6th, Slam, kudos to him in 7th. Buck 57, 8th. My Husband's in 9th. Vulcan 10th. King DD 11th. Giraffe in 12th. And Guardian completes the line out after not setting a time. Magico failed a 1 minute 11.5. But you know what? Big Sam's proud of you, and I'm proud of you too. I'm proud of you too. Because I'll be honest with you, if I was doing qualifying, I wouldn't have set a time at all. I probably would have invalidated all of them. But luckily, we don't need to find that out. Because I'm not driving today. We head straight to the race then. God, that sleep was quick, wasn't it? Hope you're all awake. Hope you're all nice and comfortable. Reclined. All ready for the rampant rage and cataclysmic chaos that the balmy Blackout Racing League has to offer. Looking at the F1 Paddock Club then, obviously something riveting going on. They're all staring at tarmac and thinking, yeah! Look at that! So grey! I mean, what else can you say? You're not going to exactly cheer a Ramco, are you? I'll be honest with you. Anyway, the cars are on the grid. You can see them there to the right of your screen. Get your microscope out anyway to be able to see them. But they are lined up, waiting and ready for our first race of the day. And it is a 50% race in Montreal. So, who will come out on top? Terziak starting this race on pole position. If we go to the race director, can we see what tyres everyone's starting on? Oh, yes, we can. Mediums and hards for the most part. But if your name's Guardian and you have absolutely nothing to lose, onto the softs. Although we can see in real time. Hello, this is like a dashboard here for the rest of the drivers to look at here. Now, Vulcan switches onto the soft tyres. Mediums and hards for the most part, though. Terziak deciding to get that faster compound out of the way first. Let's see who it pays off for the most. Lights out and away we go here in Canada. And it's a good start from Terziak. Not a good start at all from Thanassi. Here comes Wilco. Round the outside. The Aston Martin driver leads after turn 1. Fantastic start from Captain Wilco. He really does live up to his name. Sails round Mr. Terziak and Thanassi. An absolutely sumptuous start. And off he goes immediately. Straight away, the Aston Martin driver leads. Terziak remains ahead of Thanassi, though. Buck 20 in P3 and looking very racy already. Maximus in P5, Slam up to P6. Stark in 7th, but how long will that last? Looking for an avenue down the inside. Thinks better of it for the time being. But there are plenty of opportunities to make moves here at Montreal. At the hairpin, for instance, which is what Stark's alluding to now. Surging down the inside of the Mercedes man. It will remain side by side. The momentum on the outside, vastly superior though. And the traction is monumental from Slam. It's probably the cleanest first lap I've ever seen. In fact, it's Giraffe who's looking for the move. Look at that. What a slipstream there for the Mercedes man. The two Mercedes drivers almost working in tandem there as they head through the chicane. Giraffe through into P7, but for how long? What's the momentum like for Stark? It's not good enough. They keep their standing at the moment. So, Wilco in first, Terziak second, Thanassi in third, Buck 20 in fourth, Maximus in fifth, Slam and Giraffe, the Mercedes men, 6th and 7th, Stark in 8th, Haas 9th and 10th now, Guardian up to 11th on those soft tyres. Hello, voice break. With Buck 57 in 12th and Magico down in last place at the moment. But come on, husband, I didn't spend £1 million on the engagement ring for nothing. If you spend £1 million on an engagement ring, you're either really rich, or you have a serious obsession with material wealth, and I have to question your loyalties. Captain Wilco, though, setting about trying to find a gap. Currently at 8/10. Couldn't quite find the optimal lap in qualifying, but is sailing on through here in the race trim. Might well have the car in race trim as well. Hello to everyone that's watching, by the way. Welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix if you've just joined. News of the day, Wilco started P3, got the start to end all starts, and that was so close to the wall of champions. Space Ghost, how am I doing? Oh, I'm in the lead. Yes, you are. And fastest lap holder as well. Mr. KarlsCars, hello, Mr. Milo. Moral winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix last time out. I even posted him his award over the interwebs last time out. It was a very wholesome occasion. Guardian and Magico are fighting it out, though. Look at this. It might be for the wooden spoon, but it's a very diamond-encrusted wooden spoon. You don't want to turn your nose up at this for 1 second. As Guardian goes round the outside of Magico. Perhaps he's done it. He has done it. Lovely battling between the two. Very respectful racing. Will there be a banzai bullet dive from Magico? The answer is no. No, there will not. Well then, things have simmered down a little bit for now, although Stark is looking very punchy indeed against Giraffe. Could go for a dive down the inside if he thinks about it. Shows that nose to the inside, but it's not just how you do the moves, it's when you choose to do them as well. Whereas Magico does get past Guardian. I can only assume it was a mistake out of that chicane previous, because he's absolutely rocketed away. Here's Stark, though. The gap equalises, though, out of the hairpin. Giraffe just seeming to get a vastly superior exit, as Terziak now sets the fastest lap. Very interesting. Stark would definitely punch a Giraffe. Do you know what? I was going to say I'd pay money to see that, but that animal rights matter not in Blackout. I would then pay money to see that. So, the battle now for 1 and 2. Wilco and Terziak, or should I say Space Ghost and Terziak. But these two, they have to be smart here. They have to work together, because remember, Thanassi will grow in confidence in this race as he's watching these two. What they need to do is not make a mistake or come to blows. They just need to whittle away. As Stark is going for the move. Round the outside. Vastly superior exit. I'm going to say that phrase more often than not. I am confidently predicting. But an easy avenue through for the Aston Martin driver. And now can set his reticule and his sights on Mr. Slam. They want to drop Thanassi out of the DRS Stark zone. Or DR Stark zone. That rolls off the tongue better, actually. It's probably that. Gap now only 4 tenths. Does actually increase quite rapidly, actually, I'll be honest with you. But Giraffe's got back past Stark in all of that. Stark has a 3-second time penalty for ignoring the stewards. Well, he has his own creative interpretation of track limits, so that's why. There's nothing else to see. The Dr. Stark zone. Well, he's going to need surgery after the amount of headache from those penalties he's receiving so far, albeit the one penalty. But we move. The gap now between Thanassi and the top two, 2 seconds now. Contextually, Thanassi, by the way, the guy in P3 in the AlphaTauri car, championship winner last time out, and last season, should I say, in F1 23 in Blackout, as Guardian's had an oopsie. And by an oopsie, I mean he's got no nose. And there's a safety car already in this race. Voldemort appears and there's a safety car. Just as these two were starting to escape the clutches of Thanassi, we now have an safety car. So there we are. And now things can get... we can just simmer down a little bit. So the field neutralises then, and the front wing cost for Guardian is only... well, it's still going to be a front wing it's costing him. And also pride it's cost him. But in terms of actual time lost, it isn't that bad. So you can take solace in that. As Terziak comes in already. Okay, now we see the strategies coming to play. Him, Maximus, slams in. Vulcan's in. Terziak onto the hard tyres already. Of course, the field being neutralised, they'll bunch up, so it's not necessarily a loss for Terziak here. He, of course, gains some tyre life. As Vulcan, I saw at the top there, and Space Ghost rightly points out, got a drive-through penalty there. Although I don't know how much to think about that, because if they've got pit assist on, it's Codemasters having a skill issue. So, I'll assume it's that for Vulcan's pride. But anyway, Terziak out of the pits, onto the hard tyres. Maximus out of the pits. He goes onto soft tyres. That's bold, isn't it? Slam out of the pits. What does he go on? He also goes onto softs. Vulcan onto mediums. Buck 57 comes out of the pits onto mediums. Magico onto the hards. Great job, hubby. I actually never want to say that again. Internally, my stomach churned with cringe. That's horrible. Well, now we let the jury decide, is this the right time to really come into the pits? Yes, Canada is a track you can overtake at. There is no reason why it's not impossible to overtake here by any means. But is it the right decision? Given that really it's the DRS zones that are the place to overtake. And in the case of the Giraffe Stark affair, well, Stark has tried to go for the punch to the esophagus, but Giraffe has necked that absolutely brilliantly. Retaliated with his own bout of DRS. The jury is in fact. Space Ghost has said, I think Terziak has made a mistake. You don't want to be in the pack at all. There's one of many opinions in terms of, well, it's just like in real F1, to be honest with you. Or any sport which is full of opinions. One man thinking Terziak's made a mistake, but we've seen time and time again, the evidence has pointed in the direction of the newer tyres, off that tyre offset, of the fresh rubber, and that superior grip, providing the overall lasting advantage. Milo probably would have had that lasting advantage last time out in Brazil if Codemasters weren't Codemasters. And unfortunately for them, they are Codemasters. So anyway, let's move on. The Canadian Grand Prix, been on the calendar for a while now. In 1978, Gilles Villeneuve won there. Actually won the Canadian Grand Prix, did Gilles Villeneuve? The circuit that is now named after him after his tragic fatal accident in 1982. But his legacy still lives on with Formula One fans and Canadian sports fans alike. His son, Jacques Villeneuve, experienced no such luck whatsoever. In 2003, I remember it was a statistic, he failed to finish 7 times at his home race, or 7 consecutive times anyway, for whatever reason, I think. Hopefully, our drivers will experience much more luck than that, and because there are no mechanical failures or online, they're in good stead already. Safety car in then at the end of this lap. In fact, it's already peeled in. Wilco now decides when to pull the trigger, and he is gone towards the final chicane. Cutting that curb, very fine indeed, but it means he can escape into Narnia as he crosses the line. And now we'll see how much Terziak's salt is worth. Wilco then leads, Thanassi second, Buck 20 in third, Giraffe in fourth, Stark in fifth, but with a time penalty next to his name. King Didi in sixth, Terziak in seventh. I saw Vulcan come in to serve that drive-through, although his pit crew have ignored that, and he's now gone onto a fresh set of boots. So that was not part of his plan. Optimally, it would have been the next lap, but now he's got to come in again, I believe, and serve his drive-through. Yes, he does. Oh, dear. King Didi's the one on the move, though. As Terziak drops from 7th down to 8th, it's Maximus now in hot pursuit. Slam in hot pursuit of Terziak. It's all happening here. It's all changed here at the restart of the Canadian Grand Prix. Only lap 8 out of 35. As Wilco looks about getting that second gap to Thanassi, and he got it, albeit only briefly, as now Thanassi, with the exit, might have compromised the entry, but I'll tell you what, the exit is no laughing matter. Now has the slipstream. And this will be the dynamic now. Mediums versus the hards. Yes, Wilco's actually had time now to save his mediums for a little bit. Does he have the opportunity to stretch out the life of the medium tyre and perhaps fit on some softs at the end? The answer is, on lap 8, possibly not. I imagine it will still be a medium-hard affair. I was going to say, look how much speed Thanassi took through those first 2 corners. That is absolutely unbelievable. The start finally could get past Giraffe here. Into the chicane, has the outside line. Does finally sweep past, and DRS being not enabled. Stark's frustrations can be put to bed. The surgery on the headaches can wait another week, as he does find his way past the Mercedes man, and now can set about eating up the miles. Thanassi still remaining in touching distance meanwhile. It's going to get very interesting here. It's Maximus, though. The start of the train. In fact, it's King Didi leading it. Maximus just ahead as he dives down the inside. Ballsy move there from the Ferrari man. Straight in, spears his way through. And it looks like he could get the job done here. A little bit of battery to ascertain his dominance. And he's done it. But then, King Didi with a slipstream. Looking for the move again. Thinks about it, but actually lifts off before the final chicane. And now, the pressure from Terziak will happen. Getting very close for comfort to the wall of champions. Hardly any battery left to fight with. On the left, you'll see Terziak coming through. Down the inside he goes, but King Didi keeping the momentum. Look at Slab trying to find his nose in through the middle. But look at that. Terziak finally gets past. A great bit of racing, and look at Giraffe and Maximus. Look at almost contact being made. Well saved there from the Mercedes man, but hards versus softs. I mean, Maximus is slurping Giraffe's diffuser, and I think, oh dear, what on earth happened there? Maximus found the wall. Terziak now has been gifted 6th place. Could have front wing damage as well, the Ferrari man. I hope for his sake he doesn't, and he can continue. Dearie me. King Didi's out. No! What on earth's happened there? And it's another safety car on board with Vulcan. And actually, we can't find out. It must have put... There's only one thing it could be, and it's a crash. But Terziak, who had been bottled in the pack, now that the field gets neutralised, actually, it might not be a massive disadvantage, as Wilco and Thanassi are both in. And Thanassi's overtaken into the pit lane. That was very bold indeed. And now it's up to the pit crews to see what they can do. Wilco in, and out he goes, and Thanassi will remain ahead of Wilco. But crucially for Terziak, does he stay out ahead of Thanassi? The answer to that question is yes, and in fact Thanassi now is the one who ends up in Terziak's position. Bottled up. Behind... I thought it was Guardian as well, but it looks like he just managed to get ahead. So now things can neutralise themselves once again here. Well, the only man not in new tyres is this man, Giraffe. Lap number 11 out of 35. Wilco guaranteed to stop again as he put mediums on again. Well, I'm looking forward to a soft sprint towards the end of the race. As up at the front, there's all hard-ons. Giraffe's got hard-on, and with a neck like that, I'd much hope he didn't. Terziak on hards, buck 57 though, on mediums. Magico on the hard tyres, now up to P4 after the shocking start. Has now found himself in a very fortunate position indeed. The Canadian Grand Prix then, as I was saying. Gilles Villeneuve, a Canadian hero, very fortunate, won in 1978 at his home race in, I believe, wet conditions, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely purling drive, and considering how safe F1 was at the time, or should I say, the coffins that they drove, I commend him for that very much. His son, no such luck. And unfortunately, after winning the championship once in 1997, he became a professional bottle merchant. And a crybaby. In 2011, though, boy, did Canada see one hell of a race. A massive stoppage in the middle due to stormy conditions. Button won the race with more pit stops than I have fingers on one hand. Took out his own teammate, took out Fernando Alonso. but then redeemed himself rather handsomely by overtaking Sebastian Vettel on a drying track. Still a little bit slippery on the slick tyres. Vettel made the mistake. Button breezed through into P1 and won what was possibly one, his greatest drive, and two, one of the most chaotic and fantastic F1 races in history. Safety car in then at the end of this lap, as we are just over 1/3 of the way through the Canadian Grand Prix. Giraffe will choose when to pull the trigger. Terziak will be waiting in great anticipation as to when Giraffe will pull the trigger, when he'll wring the neck out of the Mercedes car. The answer is it's not right now, but I imagine as he comes out of the final chicane, that will be when he bounces. And the answer is he's still back in the field up. He's still waiting, and that could be very grisly indeed. Lots of drivers making mistakes and waiting, being impatient, but away we go. Buck 57, they're trying to make the move as Thanassi immediately down the inside, trying to make the move, and he's on mediums. Thanassi on the medium tyres then. Could do a one-stop, but that would be very ballsy indeed. It's now Giraffe from Terziak, but Terziak has to get a move on quick smart if he wants to make sure that Thanassi doesn't completely rinse him. And well, Buck 57 puts up no resistance whatsoever, so now there is no line of defense between Terziak and Thanassi. So, slipstream for Terziak, trying to find a move. Nothing materialising though, as Maximus and Slam duke it out. It's Slam that wins that particular battle. Now back to the front. Terziak to the outside of the hairpin. Okay, well we've seen from evidence that the outside line is the way to go to have that momentum to plant the power on sooner. The answer is, here goes the Alpine man. With a bit of battery, he will do it, but Thanassi's there as well. And now Terziak's got to be extremely careful and try and not let the AlphaTauri man through. Briefly into the lead goes Thanassi. Through into the lead goes Thanassi, but a compromised chicane might have put pay to that particular eventuality. It's Giraffe that actually goes for the move on Terziak. Again, down the inside from the Mercedes driver. Wheel banging between the two, but Terziak will take P2 in this race. Thanassi, though, straight through into P1. A Slam, no! Spins out into the infield. Luckily, all four wheels back pointing the right direction, so there will be no need for a triple safety car threat, which is good news. So back to Wilco now. Wilco down in 8th place. That was possibly a catastrophic restart, for lack of a better term. But now he seems to have found his groove in the slipstream of Magico. To the inside he goes, and surely he's going to breeze through. No, Magico closes the door. Contact made. And yes, he had the momentum, but a little bit of space being left. Well, you know what? I won't be the judge of that. I'll let you do that. Wilco then changing his line up a little. Oh, no! Massive problem for Buck 57. Spins out of the hairpin. Massive car park. And another safety car. Another safety car. We literally just got racing again. Buck 57, what have you done? Not only have you called another safety car, but Guardian is now upset. Slam is now upset. In fact, they've all got penalties. They're all going to have to come in for Voldemort replacements. So is Mr. Captain Wilco. In fact, so many drivers are into the pits. Unbelievable. Ferrari without a front. Maximus has called it a day. And my computer's had a skill issue. An optimal time, to be honest with you, because nothing is happening. Not let it. Can I go back onto F1 23, please? Can I go back onto F1? Please? Can I go back onto... Thank you. Jesus. Wise man says chaos. Oh boy, was there chaos. Well, the front two remain the same. Thanassi and Terziak. Buck 20's now in P3. Vulcan, after everything, is now in P4. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Well, he's in P4, but for how much longer? Because Voldemort has embraced the Haas driver. And with 15 laps, 3/7 of the way through this Grand Prix completed, It is now a massive problem. He's going to have front downforce problems with that. You know, Space Ghost, I actually couldn't tell. I genuinely couldn't tell. I actually thought he was going to have more downforce. He'd be a good boat because technically if you don't have downforce, you have more upthrust, right? That's how physics. Anyway, somehow Magico is 7th despite being 8 seconds faster than Slam. Right, while the timing screen has a skill issue, let's indulge ourselves now in the actual proper order. Thanassi in P1, Terziak in P2, 3rd is Buck20, 4th is Giraffe, 5th is Slam, who was briefly a minute behind his teammate, but Mercedes now 4 and 5 in this race after everything. Magico in 6th now, Guardian in P7. Vulcan and Stark are in, so surely Buck57, yes, there he goes, Buck57 into P8, Wilco in 9th, Vulcan in 10th, and Stark will complete our running order. Maximus and King DD, well, I'm no genius in Formula 1, but shearing wheels is not the best way to gain speed. And that, I think that says it all, really. So as we process behind the safety car, once again, what other dramatic, zany and crazy moments has Canada put forward to us over the years? Well, in 2016, it was the year that Sebastian Vettel avoided a seagull. He, in fact, stopped the seagull population from becoming extinct. And because of that, I can't have a fish and chips in peace anymore. So, screw you, Sebastian. How dare you? In 2007, it's at that corner there, at the hairpin we're looking at now, where Robert Kubica had an absolutely astronomical crash. Like a massive crash. Somehow hardly even injured himself, unbelievably. Had to miss the next race anyway. At the USA, I believe it was. That was where Mr. Sebastian Vettel stepped in the BMW. As far as I understand it. What tyres are the Astons on? Wilco is on softs. Stark is on mediums. They have nothing to lose, so I don't blame them. Thanassi, when will he pull the trigger? Because the safety car is already in. Our 3rd safety car. Hopefully there are no more. Otherwise, that window next to me looks appetizing. Away goes the championship leader, and we are back racing in Blackout. Him, Terziak, and Buck20 get great restarts. It's Giraffe that doesn't have such a great time of things. Although Slam is his rear guard, so it's not all set in stone. It's Wilco that's on the move, though. On those softs straight away, looking for the superior traction. He's got the superior traction. Will have the outside. Buck57 shoves him as wide as possible. Left just about a car's width. A robust but fair defense from Mr. Buck57. It's Buck20 that's on the move, though. He seems to be on it like a car bonnet on restarts now. He's had enough of me. Absolutely enough of me. Saying that his restarts are absolutely shocking. He's now ravenous. He relishes the challenge of the restarts. Only 2 attempts between himself and Terziak. Although Terziak getting a great run at Thanassi all of a sudden. Would you look at that? Of course, Terziak's hards won't actually have worn out that much at the end of the day. Because of the 3 safety cars now. But I've had time to cool down the tyres and relax a little bit. The front 3 covered by just over half a second. You love to see it. And a great run out of the final chicane. But a better run for Buck20. Here comes the downforce king. Down the inside. Brakes as hard as he does. And as hard as he does is indeed the right amount. And away he goes. Into P2. And now looks like he can set a challenge on Thanassi. Incredible. Although how much battery does Thanassi have? He's not used any so far. Thanassi then playing the long game as Slam gets past his teammate, and he's really not that far behind this front 3 group. In fact, he's within a second now of Terziak. So don't count anyone out almost, as Wilco had a little moment. Was battling it out with Buck57, now finds himself with the wooden spoon in his hand. Which, if your name is Jamie Oliver, probably a good thing. Unless you're sitting out and about with a different brand, but in the case of Wilco, well, Guardian's made another slight mistake, and as a result, swarmed by Aston Martins. Into the hairpin they go, and the confidence Wilco has on the brakes is almost unparalleled. Yes, he's on that soft rubber as well, which just enforces that fact, really, doesn't it? Buck20, though, look how close he is. Hasn't really used that much battery. Thanassi will defend. Buck 20 will use all the battery he needs to. They both stop using it now. It's a mental game now, it must be said, between the two of them. The McLaren and AlphaTauri. If you saw this in real life, you'd probably have to wake up. But in this case, this is real life. This is F123. This is an AlphaTauri, a McLaren, and an Alpine fighting for the top 3 positions here in Canada. Plenty of drama still to happen, remember. I thought 3 safety cars was the limit in F123, and then I got proved wrong. I think it was at Imola, where we did get 5 safety cars, and that actually was painful. Thanassi, though, turning up the wick on this lap, has used a bit of battery, but just to hammer the point home, the DRS is mightily powerful, and it's keeping Buck 20 in the harness. Terziak with a little mistake, or his hard tyres just aren't biting into the bitumen as he would want them to. As a result, it becomes a 2-horse affair up at the front. Albeit Maximus isn't in this event, so it's not a 2-horse event at all. What are we doing? Well, I'm glad they've listed champions. I assume that's the champions that have crashed into the wall of champions. That interesting man-ish was talking about. Buck 20 and Thanassi, though. So like Terziak and Wilco were doing at the beginning of the race previously, now it turns to Terziak. Slam has had a little bit of a problem out of that first complex of corners. Giraffe now up into P4. Magico, though, in hot pursuit. Unbelievable. He's just winning. He won the Brazilian Grand Prix last time out. He won my heart. Stole it, really. And just like a criminal mind should, he's now going for P4 in this race and trying to prize it from Giraffe's custody. Although the court might have something to say about that. My God, look how close Buck 20 is. And they're both on equal battery. It's not like Thanassi is using battery to try and play some kind of mental game here. Look at the exit Buck 20 has got. We could see a swap for the lead here in favour of the McLaren Maestro. DRS wide open. Of course, it's a double dosage of the rear wing flap being opened. So he might not get it into the final chicane. Look at the confidence he had on the brakes just then. But he leaves it be for the time being. Perhaps this is the game plan then. Save battery. Save battery and put Thanassi under pressure. That's probably the way to go. As look at that. That's the difference between mediums and hards so far. Terziak now 3.8 seconds down. And he's got no battery left. It's not like he's pushing for every ounce, for every pound worth of his salt. But at the end of the day, that salt is turning sour. Which I thought I'd never say. And I thought you'd probably have never heard in a commentary ever. But that is exactly what I've said. He loses half a second in that first complex of corners. Again, ascertaining 1, how powerful DRS is, and 2, how incredibly efficient the mediums are for the time being, as Buck 57 claims an accolade. Unfortunately, that accolade is a 3-second time penalty. Naughty boy. Heading down the straight then, DRS once again. Again, watching the battery usage, trying to figure out who's using what. About equal battery once again here. It's really quite the occasion here in Blackout, as Buck 20 got a much better exit that time. But again, nothing doing there. Again, just biding his time. Look at that, they're 5 seconds ahead of surely Terziak has some kind of problem. Unless I'm watching the AI go round now. I don't think I am. Because Slam, look at that, he's using alternative lines. AI don't do that because they're not smart. But my goodness me, Terziak must have some kind of problem. He just must not be loving the hard tyres whatsoever at the moment. But there are still 13 laps in this race to go, as Guardian claims a 3-second time penalty, I believe, once again. Oh dear. Giraffe and Magico with DRS, by the way. That is a great shot. And it gives you an idea of just how powerful the slipstream and DRS effect really is. Giraffe reeling in the Alpine. He's got his catch of the day. He's looking for a Rose sea bass. He's going to try and grill it a little bit more. And into the back. No, Slam goes of Magico. No, got his braking all crossed up. The Red Bull driver gets it back on the road. But disaster for the Red Bull driver. Slam living up to his name in all the wrong ways. As now in P5, he's got Buck 57 for company as they head into the chicane, and actually backing off is Buck 57. Has a second dosage of it into the first corner, but both of them have absolutely no battery left. The Duracell bunny has been roasted, toasted, and slow cooked. And yes, while he's very scrumptious, that's not what he would have had in mind. Up at the front, though, once again. Look at that. 4 attempts to... Look how late Buck 20 is braking. You can see it from the helicopter shot. Buck 20. Punching above the weight that possibly many would expect. But perhaps we should expect this more often. Remember, in Brazil, he was caught up in the pack. It just didn't work out for him until... Well, I'd say it did. I mean, Buck 20 and Buck 57 shared P9, I think it was in the end. They shared P9. Fantastic. Slam pit taking Magico out was naughty. I know. I know it was. And in the eyes of the Blackout stewards, I'm sure they won't look upon that favourably. In fact, I feel like karma and justice will have a thing to say for itself. It has a conscience now. Its name is Buck 57. Trying to go round the outside. Brake as late as you dare. Cutting over the curb. He's broken so late. That was a gnarly corner cut. Slam might have another chance yet. But Buck 57 with that second dosage of DRS will have P5. Justice for now somewhat served. As Wilco into the pits once again. And onto hard tyres he goes with only 11 laps to go. Interesting move there. Up at the front, though, looks like Thanassi's turning up the wick a little bit, and he is saving battery now. Finally, my prediction comes into fruition. As he's just playing it smart now, saving his battery, taking his time with it. He doesn't have to fight this as hard as he is doing. He knows in his mind he can control it. He has the confidence to be able to control it from the front. Slight lock-up, though, and I believe that's for Buck 20 because he's lost 2 attempts just like that. Billowing with smoke just then. Goodness gracious me, but it doesn't really matter because DRS will... Why is there a safety car? Guardian, what have you done? Oh dear. Well, if you're Wilco and you just pit onto hard, I am afraid to... Oh no! Thanassi with a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. And that changes the complexion of the race completely. Suddenly, Buck 20 is going to be your provisional race leader. Unbelievable. Too much zest on the markers. Thanassi, who had controlled it from the front, suddenly catches the ire and irks the stewards massively. Guardian has left the session, and I don't blame him. It's that second sector chicane, right at the beginning of the second sector, actually. That's where the accident happened. And like we've said many a time, well, I've said many a time, actually. Don't know why I'm bringing you all into this. You haven't said it at all, really. But in my opinion, probably the hardest part of the track to get right in terms of the traction, in terms of the confidence, in terms of feeling the car. It can snap away in a heartbeat. And in the case of Guardian, he's had a coronary. So the order is as such then. Slam is in first. There were some dubious circumstances to get there, but he is in first. Thanassi is in P2, but with a drive-through penalty next to his name. Naughty boy. Buck 20 has kept his nose very clean indeed, is in P3. Giraffe in P4. And the man who on the hard tyres previously had it all to do now finds himself in a wonderful position. Mediums for absolutely everyone pretty much, unless your name's Wilco, in which case you've remained on the hards. Stark onto softs. A soft Stark, very nice indeed. Magico onto mediums, and Vulcan also onto mediums. The top 10, the only ones left in this race. In real Formula 1 terms, that means that would be it for the point scorers. Everyone would score points, but because it's Blackout, everyone who was racing anyway scored points. Yay! You gotta love Blackout's points system, let's be honest with you. 30 points for first place, all the way down to 15th normally, which is 1 point, although with not 15 people. 13th place, I believe, will take home 4 points, I'm tempted to say. I hope that's right. That was an educated guess. As I was saying, though, Canada brings chaos. I talked about 2007 with Robert Kubica crashing just absolutely horrifically, somehow hardly received any injuries whatsoever. You can see his feet poking out of the cockpit, out of the nose cone part. It's almost brutal, but somehow no injuries whatsoever. Luck was on his side that day, blissfully for him. Luck wasn't on the side of, well, those who got stopped in the pit lane in 2008. One, Sir Lewis Hamilton, who didn't see the red light. Cars ahead of him had stopped. He cascaded over the rear wing of Kimi Räikkönen. And who did he avoid who went on to win that race? That's right, Robert Kubica. His first and only Formula 1 win in what should have been really a career filled with many more wins. But the gods of F1 are cruel at the best of times, and they have looked down very disfavourably, unfavourably. I don't know what English is, but I love the sound of high octane, so I don't care. Thanassi with a drive-through penalty, though, and he better not do a Vulcan and try and, well, serve it now, because otherwise he's got a real problem. I would assume he tries to stretch this out as much as possible, try and just rip through 3 laps of the Canadian Grand Prix circuit, and then come in to serve that drive-through. Slam is now the one to control the field, and off he goes. Catches Thanassi almost unawares. The gap for Thames, and once again, we're racing again here in Montreal. Slam in P1, Thanassi in P2, and as I predicted, he's absolutely going for it. Buck 20 P3, provisionally the race leader. Giraffe in P4, Terziak 5th on fresh rubber. Buck 57 6th, Wilco and Stark 7th and 8th. Magico 9th, Thanassi's up to P1 straight away. Like I said, going to be pushing absolutely furiously. Battery out of every single corner just to try and get some kind of a gap to really cement himself towards this front fight even after the drive-through. But how much time can he really offset? How much damage can he really limit as Wilco gets another penalty, by the way? Buck 20, meanwhile, straight past Slam briefly, although Slam gets right back through again. I almost thought Buck 20 chopped across the Mercedes man. I only saw it briefly, but that looked zesty, to say the least. Already, Thanassi with a 1.3 second gap. And again, out of the hairpin, traction on, and you know it. Plants the battery into the ground. The national grid is crying as Buck 20 finally manages to prize a gap past Slam. Mercedes 3 and 4, they'd be laughing if that was the final result. But Thanassi does come in to serve his drive-through. Here we go then. Through goes Buck 20, through goes Slam and Giraffe, through goes Terziak, through goes Wilco. Stark, meanwhile, has come in, and I can only assume that's for a front wing. It's been an absolute disaster for Aston Martin this race. It has not gone the way of their team whatsoever. Out of the pits comes Thanassi, though, and let's see what the gap is to Vulcan up ahead. The answer is it's 4.5 seconds. Canada, notoriously, with a drive-through, actually, because of the way the pit lane exit is designed, actually, you don't lose that much time on the exit. So then, let's see what the championship leader can do. Currently, Peanut, I mean, he'll score points anyway, no matter what. Also providing he finishes the race, because that would hurt his pedigree. But it's Buck 20 in the lead so far. Giraffe actually catching Buck 20 for the time being. I find that very interesting. Look, my God, like a cruise missile. Terziak almost smashing his way past Giraffe. And Mercedes, well, one Mercedes is supposed to receive karma. You got the wrong one, I'm afraid. DRS not enabled on this lap. Giraffe absolutely leathering the battery, surely. Look how quickly he's catching up to the back of Buck 20 on the straight there. Let's see it again. Not using any battery. Must be a lower downforce setup because he's gaining time. Hand over fist in a straight line as DRS is enabled. Thanassi, by the way, has just casually gained 2 seconds on Vulcan. Just casually. Like he didn't need more of a confidence boost already. Man is absolutely flying. He knows. He knows he's worth his salt by the absolute tankerful. Flying through the chicane. Helicopter shot. As he heads through the chicane. Left-hander, pinch the car in. Now the gap 1.3 seconds. Nay, as he comes out of the exit, make that under a second. Within DRS range. The purple sector 1 for the championship leader. It's almost like he was fighting with one arm tied behind his back But then once he gets the drive-through, once the red mist descends, he can see nothing other than purple sector, opportunity, avoiding action, as straight on goes Wilco. What on earth happened there? As he now turns around at the hairpin, doesn't get disqualified by the gods of Codemasters, but Wilco getting it all crossed up at the hairpin there. You saw him shooting off to the exit road, but Terziak, meanwhile, gets past Giraffe. Thanassi already up into P5. Why do I bother? I'm joking, it's respectable. I do actually really admire the effort and respect the effort. Fastest lap, meanwhile, as Wilco peels into the pits and retires from this session. Bad to worse for the Aston Martin outfit. A pit stop to change the front wing for one of them. Didn't have enough iron at his disposal, but now finds himself in P9. So if more people can just crash themselves out, albeit not his teammate, that probably wasn't part of the plan. Was that... Stark, was that teamwork? Was that teamwork? Talk to me. I mean, if it was, then fair play, but I think that was a bit excessive. Wilco comes out of the pits there. Meanwhile, Thanassi again on the move past Magico. He's not waiting around for 1 second. The gulf between himself and a podium place. 4.5 seconds between him and Mr. Giraffe. But remember, based on tyre life, if I am not mistaken, as you can probably see, they all have the same life of tyre. In the case of Slam and Buck 57, they had hardly any tyre life whatsoever, and Vulcan just a couple of laps older mediums. But even so, it makes all the difference here. Terziak and Buck 20, the battle for the lead then, as I watch with great interest. Firstly, Giraffe behind in case these two fight a bit too hard. And secondly, Thanassi's progress on catching the rest of the field in front of him. Gap to this battle is currently 6.1 seconds. So we'll see what transpires with just 5 tours of the Canadian Grand Prix circuit to go. Whilst Terziak piles the pressure on the McLaren man, who soaks it up like a sponge absolutely wonderfully. He's pressure absorbent, really. Look at that man go. Let's look at Stark at the back quickly. Actually, reeling in those ahead of him, who are on 13-lap-old harder tyres in the case of Slam. So that's good news. The bad news is he's got 12.5 seconds to make up. So in his case, I'd say steal an extra 3 points for fastest lap. Peel into the pits, fit on a fresh set of softs, and then gun it for one final glory lap. Get the fastest lap. Still 3 more points. Meanwhile, change for the lead. Terziak goes through. Buck 20 though with a great exit. Look at that. Nipping at the heels of the Alpine driver. In fact, taking almost a chunk of the heel out of the Alpine driver. But Terziak sweeps through into the lead. The pole sitter, the only man to make it through into the 1:09, putting his pace to good use. And through into the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. But the battling will long continue between these two. Buck 20 already chased down one Leviathan in this championship, being Thanassi. Now he's got the opportunity to chase down the other, the Scotsman, looking for frontline freedom. But he won't get that. Buck 20 won't settle for second place. He will go for the lead. The gap between Thanassi and the top two still 6.2 seconds. He's not gained at all. That's devastation. He will get a podium at least, because it doesn't matter. Giraffe has a penalty to his name. Buck 20 does get DRS meanwhile, and that can help him just to save some battery, because the Energizer Bunny has actually been crucified. Good lord. Buck 20, you have some answering to do. Greta is going to slap your face. Oh, Terziak, both of you are going into the environmental slammer. Meanwhile, as things start to simmer down, Thanassi just reeling in Giraffe, slowly but surely. Like I say, once again, he doesn't have to do anything too over the top, though. He's on those. He's got the pace. He knows he's got the pace. And he knows he's got the opportunity and the means to do whatever he needs to do. Meanwhile, Buck 57 with a brief mistake, because he's now down to P8 from P6. Oh, dear. Thanassi, though, is the one to watch. Actually, no, Buck 20 is the one to watch. Now 3/10 only is the gap between himself and Terziak. Thanassi looking for an avenue. Look at the pressure he's piling on Giraffe. Is this another 3-second time penalty for Giraffe? And if I'm not mistaken, that's actually 6 seconds worth of penalties. Let me see it. Yes, it is. So then, if Magico keeps within the realm of Giraffe, and that is entirely possible, he could be rewarded yet with a 4th place in this race. But here comes the AlphaTauri driver. It's textbook. You knew it was coming. Round the outside he goes. Giraffe settles back into the slipstream and through into the lead goes Thanassi into the lead of 3rd place, I guess. But with 3rd place, Thanassi does claim indeed an epic comeback. It must be said. Chaos of all kinds happened in front of him to somewhat promote him to that position. But even with a drive-through, you cannot shackle this man. The front 2 are better be wary, though. They know they've got daylight between themselves and Thanassi, but remember, these 2 fighting tooth and nail, hammer and tong, for that front position. What both of them are not going to give this up. Buck 20 is all the wiser about that particular opportunity. Remember, like I said, it's not about how you execute it, it's when you choose to execute it as well. When you've got the championship leader behind you and you want to gain points in the championship, the last thing you want to do is cause an accident between you 2 and give him even more of an advantage. So, DRS open, the gap, 2.5 tenths, closest it's ever been. Buck 20 has saved battery brilliantly, and surely as he goes down the straight, he'll have the inside line at the chicane, and that's the worst camera angle I've ever seen, but all is rectified, as through goes the McLaren man into P1 once again. Thanassi, meanwhile, just casually drops 7 tenths and almost a second on there, a gap. Just as you do. Because he just didn't need to pile on any more pressure. But last lap of the Grand Prix then, Buck 20 has taken the lead, but now he has the job of keeping that lead, staying in that lead position for this final lap, and things could get very frosty and very interesting indeed. Through the left-hander, Terziak, the pole sitter, Buck 20, the man who kept his nose clean, the man who followed and passed one Leviathan, has done the same to another. But how much battery does he have left? He has less than Terziak, and that could be all the difference. It all comes down to this hairpin, surely. Through they go. What kind of hairpin can it be? Buck 20 almost defends fresh air. That's surely the wrong thing to do. Terziak will get a good exit. It's 3.5 tenths the gap. And both of them will make the Energizer Bunny put himself in a coma. The extra battery makes the difference. Terziak sweeps into the lead on the penultimate straight through the final chicane. He took pole position. He takes it very circumspect. It's a run to the line. I don't believe it. But with DRS, Terziak wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Buck 20 with such a valiant effort all the way through to the dying moments. But when the embers had crackled, when the fire was quenched, Terziak was the man on top, is the man on top. Thanassi comes home in P3. Magico is promoted to P4 after Giraffe serves and adds those penalties on. What an ending to the Canadian Grand Prix. Had parts where it simmered out, but certainly was not without drama by any stretch of the imagination. The driver of the day is my husband. Yes. Sorry, I'm supposed to be impartial as a commentator, aren't I? Anyway, here is the podium. Thanassi with the epic comeback in 3rd. Buck 20 took it to the front 2 in the championship until the very dying moments. But Terziak erupted in this race weekend. Pole position. Gaseous gremlins have ruined my victory speech. But they spray the Sprite Zero, the 7-Up free, whatever it is they do spray nowadays. Because F1 are snowflakes. Respect between the 3 drivers according to the game. What a race that was. What a comeback for Thanassi. What a win for Terziak in the final moments. Almost capitulated at the very end. Buck 20 sniffed an opportunity, but when it all came down to it, he manages to get P2 for McLaren. Incredible stuff. Thanassi P3. Magico says it was a poo fest of a race, but I'll tell you what, P4 is nothing to turn your snout up at. So I am very impressed. Giraffe P5, Vulcan 6th, Stark ends up in 7th after those around him capitulated. Buck, 5 pit stops for Stark, by the way, madness. Buck 57, Slam, Wilco complete the top 10, with Guardian, Maximus and King DD rounding out the order for the Canadian Grand Prix. Prix. And, remember, everyone scores points. That's unbelievable, isn't it? There's 11 of you here. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm very glad to have you on board. I hope you all enjoyed that Canadian Grand Prix race. That was unbridled chaos, to say the least. My goodness me. I'm just reading through the chat now as I'll put some music on in the background, just to indulge us as we read through. We talked about slam pit manoeuvring Magico at the hairpin. And, well, Karma did its job at the end. I think Karma is served in a dish which is best served very cold. And it was received, indeed, very, very mediocrely lukewarm from the Mercedes man. Wilco said he quit the race. I don't blame you. I've no idea what happened at the hairpin. You might have been actually slammed into. I have no idea. But in any case, you still got 10th place, and that's still good points. So I wouldn't complain too much. Mr. Maximus, I believe this is. Hello, mate. I got stopped by a roadblock in front of the pits. Yeah, I know. Shambles. There was a lot of chaos in the Canadian Grand Prix, wasn't there? Hard luck. It was hard luck, really, for a lot of drivers this race. Magic, I disagree. It wasn't that bad of a... I know it was a chaotic one, and it was absolutely cataclysmic at times for a lot of people. But you still got P4 out of it. And when push comes to shove, that's better than P5. And all the other ones. So really, you can take solace in that, I think. Stark said at least Austria might be better. You know what? Possibly. And it's a 35% race, so perhaps less pain. And also, the walls are not claustrophobic. Much more expansive, much more open scenery, much more mountains, blissfully. So, there you go then. That's the Canadian Grand Prix. Mistimed my overtake, but pleased with my attempt through the wall of champs at the end. Do you know what? I commend your effort, my friend. I absolutely commend it. I was going berserk at the end of that. I was going absolutely berserk, and it could have all ended in tears, so well done to both of you for not erupting and spontaneously combusting. I'm very, very glad indeed. I got some great racing and some great shouts out of it. I even had a voice break. It was beautiful. Plus 8 extra wings. Yeah, I thought so. Oh, I'm slowly becoming less of a parachute. Okay, so he's downgraded from the 300 to the 290 wings. This is a step in the right direction, one might think. And with Austria coming up next, this is good practice to have that lower downforce, to make sure you have that straight line speed and become basically Saturn V down the straights in Spielberg. It'll be great fun. So then, like I said, great victory from Terziak. Absolutely wonderful. All kinds of fun and games all the way through to the last corner, nay, the last straight. Buck 20 put up one hell of a fight. Absolutely wonderful stuff from start to finish. He took the sword to Thanassi, did the job against him, almost also did the job against Terziak in the end. Thanassi with the incredible comeback. Chaos in every other direction as well. I mean, I can't believe it, really. It's absolutely unbelievable. Whew, I can breathe now. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm doing a Cristiano Ronaldo. Rule number 1 is, if a foreign football player goes into an interview, expect them to go, unbelievable. Rule number 1. Or like, amazing. Amazing or unbelievable is generally their go-tos, I would say. Anyways, Canadian Grand Prix, done. Checked off the list. We expected chaos. Oh boy, did we get it. But we also got some cracking, rapturous racing out of it as well. And if we continue that into the Austrian Grand Prix, I'll be a very happy bunny indeed. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you do stay tuned in, because next up, we're off to Austria. Tune in a few minutes.
It's just me and you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are still here, firstly, thank you to all of you that are watching so far. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on board, genuinely. I'm honestly so grateful. I'm glad it's being received this well. I'm glad you all enjoyed the Canadian Grand Prix. I've decided, though, that it's finally time. I've decided that I am going to go... Where am I going to go? No, I'm not. Where am I going? Why is it not letting me... I swear there's a thing where I can... That's my display. That's not what I wanted at all. That's me! Hello! Right. Welcome. I'm going to zoom myself in. Right. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Firstly, if you're wondering, why is there a duvet next to me? The heating in my house is broken. And that's all you need to know. Ignore the mess to my left. What I'm going to do right now for you, though, is I'm going to... sim my Formula 1 career again, because I decided that my first one was a bit bad. So, here we go. Hello, husband. Great to see you, my friend. Right, where am I going? To the talk. So, there's my phone. You can see that's... No, you get the idea. So, let's get it started. We're going to start my career. I'm going to take my phone off charge. Starting in... Formula 3. Who am I starting with? MP's alright. MP's alright. Okay. How did I do? I stayed in there for 1 year. And I got the runner-up. Okay. History has proven that runner-up is not necessarily always a bad thing. So, we continue now. My screen is inverted, so that's not ideal. I'm with Prema. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, I nearly said... I nearly said the wrong thing. Right. Let me see if I can invert this quickly. What do I do? Bop. That's not quite... Right, if I look like I'm ill, blame the camera. Right, there we go. Hello. So, I've signed with Prema. That's pretty good. So, start with the current team. I've been in F2 for 2... I got to finish... After coming runner-up in F2, I expected better than finishing 5th in my 2 years. But anyway, we'll gloss over that. So, we're going to continue now to Formula 1. Let's see... who we get. It is... I've got Mercedes. I've got Mercedes, boys. Is it the right move, though? Is it the right move? We're going to click Mercedes. I've clicked Mercedes. I've clicked Mercedes. And what Mercedes saying? Okay, there's maximum of that. Okay, it's not bad. I've got 6 of those. Hello, that's my girlfriend. Sorry. I've swiped your notification. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of an F1 thing. Alpine and Haas. No, I'm staying with Mercedes, bro. What kind of a question is that? Right, this time. Oh, 7 pole positions, 5 fastest laps, and crucially, 9 podiums. That is good news. Oops. Listen, it's a polyamorous relationship. We discussed this. Hello, Buck57 or Buck20. It says Bucks. I'm assuming it's Buck20. Hello. How's it going? Alfa Romeo is Buck20. Hello, Mr. Buck20. Smiling that face. 2 teams are interested. Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. I'll let you decide. What do we do? Do we move or do we stay at Mercedes? Move or stay? It's been a good start to the career here, Mercedes. I'll let you decide. Come on, what are we going for? I can't wait around forever. Come on, guys. Stay. Stay with current team. I'm staying with Mercedes then. Oh. Edie got in first. I apologise. I've stayed with Mercedes. I've got 9 pole positions. You can see it there. Alpha. I've got Ferrari as well. Right, do I move? We know Ferrari are notoriously bottle jobs. But do I move? Okay, this time. How many DNFs do we think for Austria? I do not get well with the last go. I'm going to put my neck out and I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say 4 DNFs. I think we're going to continue the chaos from Canada, but that's just me. Or maybe I just like to manifest chaos, which in that case is... That's probably not a good thing, actually. Anyway, Magico says stay. Maximus says 2 DNFs. You know what? These are all valid suggestions. I'm going to stay with Mercedes. So, this season, we get... Oh my god. 13 pole positions, 5 fastest laps, and 14 podiums. And Red Bull have come... Do we stay or do we move? Bearing in mind, that is a hell of a season. Do we stay or do we move? I'm letting you control my F1 career here. This could get interesting. Just don't balls it up. If you do say move, by the way, tell me where, specifically. Tell me where. I wait with absolute unrivaled anticipation. That's whatever you say. Move to Williams, my friend, is not an option. It's McLaren or Red Bull. Okay, we've got to stay. We've got to stay. Well, that's it. The jury has spoken. Stay at Mercedes. So, maybe Papaya next if they come a call in. 10 pole positions, 7 fastest laps and 10 podiums. It's still carrying on. Alpine and Alfa Romeo have come calling. Do we move or do we stay? Again, if you say move, say where. Out of Alpine and Alfa Romeo and not Williams again. Otherwise, I'll kick your head in. I've seen the clips of the previous races in Austria that I was in. I haven't commentated over an Austria race yet, so this will be agony possibly. I can share. Yes, please. I would love to see them. Might even react to some of them at the end. Who knows? Or before the race. This is an F1 2021. Oh dear, it goes way back. Clip by one Timalele. Fantastic. Right, are we staying or are we moving, guys? Tell me. Stay or move? Again, we've had another very decent season. Clearly, our loyalty is paying off handsomely at the moment. But the question is, do we move or do we stay? Just checking that they haven't all escaped to Austria qualifying without my prior knowledge. The answer is no, they haven't. They're all still doing it in the lobby. Do we move or do we stay? Please tell me. I'm waiting anxiously. How many of you are here? 10 people. 10 people want to see my face. Hello. It's good to see you. Move, but you choose which one. Okay. Oh, no. No, I don't want to move. Why did I let you all choose this? Wait. No, I can still be saved. I can still be saved. What does everyone else think? If you all say move, I'm going to have a problem. And that problem is, I'm not going to win anything anymore. Which, in a Formula 1 career, probably a bad thing. Move. Oh, bollocks. Okay. Alright. Alpine or Alfa Romeo? Alfa Romeo, though, turns into Audi. So that could be an inspired move. Off to Alfa Romeo we go for 40 million. And we get... We've equalled our best season, ladies and gentlemen. 14 podiums. And Williams and McLaren have come calling. Do we move or do we stay? I've retired at Alfa Romeo, bearing in mind, so this is just for management now. Alpine. Thank God I didn't choose Alpine. I have dodged a massive bullet there. Nay, I've dodged a sniper rifle, quite frankly. What are we doing? Do you know what? It's management. Do you know what? I'm just going to manage Alfa Romeo. They've given me success at the end of my career. Right, here we go. These are the stats. Up to whatever that is. 83. Best track was Canada. That's convenient, isn't it? 44 wins. Shout out to Lewis. 1 championship. After those results, are you joking? How many points? Oh! Am I in the Hall of Fame, please? I am depressed. I am fully depressed. Right. Well, anyway. That's sad. Anyway. Looks like... I'll take a screenshot of it anyway, since... Well, apparently I got the podiums, just not enough wins, so that's a shame, but... Anyway, actually, how many podiums did I get? I got 28, 38, 46, 55, 62. 62 podiums and 44 of those are wins. I'll take that. But then that means in 3 years, I only got 7 podiums. That's not ideal. I peaked towards the end of my career, though, which really, if we think about it, exactly what Lewis Hamilton did. And to some extent, Alonso, because really he was in his prime outside of Renault years, in my opinion, but that's just me. Right. Do you know what? We're gonna change it up. I am going to quickly simulate my football career because I feel like my career as an F1 driver went pretty well. I'm checking that we haven't moved on. We've got 15 seconds. Never mind, I'm going to disappear into the ether for a little bit. I hope you enjoyed seeing my face. Wet Austria! Oh, no. Oh, wait. Oh, we don't know yet. Why would you get me excited like that, man? I've been blue-balled. I actually have been blue-balled. This is the worst feeling in the world. Anyway, back to F1 23 we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get scurvy, but it's also time to get qualifying underway at the Austrian Grand Prix, where we say hello to Jamie Tarquin, who joins the fray as a reserve, but who is he reserving for? I have no idea is the answer to that question, but we'll have the answer very soon. All your regular suspects are here. By the way, if you hear whirring as well, that's a little portable heater thing, which if you're an Arctic Monkeys fan is great fun. But if you're me and don't have heating, well, a necessity, quite frankly. You heard it, the Red Bull ring. Only one Red Bull leading the line today. But perhaps he can bring them eternal glory today. Qualifying time here at Spielberg. The A1 ring, the Österreich ring, the Red Bull ring, whatever variations it's had over the years, it still remained a strong staple of the Formula 1 calendar. And long may it continue. Some of the most millimetric of margins in qualifying sessions here over the years. And I'm sure we will see that once again here in the Blackout Racing League. Captain Wilco then, first out onto the track. The first to get us underway for qualifying. If they're feeling really bold, as Guardian's already decided to give up, and, well, I don't blame him at the Red Bull ring. Actually, no, why did you? Because they'll have orange smoke. They're supporting you, mate. Get back in the lobby. What are you doing? Goodness me. Anyway, back to the action we go then. The Red Bull ring returned to the Formula 1 calendar in, I believe, 2014, where Felipe Massa took pole position for Williams. Williams actually took a 1-2 that day, but it was still Mercedes that won in the end, so there's that. Aston Martin exercising new tactics, though, and letting Stark steam through. So while in qualifying, it was a bit of an organised chaos moment towards the end of the lap for Wilco. This time, they're deciding to get that out of the way. Let Stark overtake early, and then there can be no such problems. Very easy to invalidate your lap on that curb there. You've got to be supremely careful of track limits here. Just like in real life, they've decided that monitoring them is now a thing. That could be invalidated. Luckily, it is not. Stark does get on with the last corner, and away we go for the first lap of the Österreich ring, which sounds like I've got problems. Through into turn one, braking after the 100-meter board, pinch the car into the apex and straighten it out. Use a bit of the curb on the outside as you now roller coaster your way up the hill underneath Mick Schumacher's cruises and towards this hairpin. Brake at the 100-meter board, pinch the car in as a McLaren has had a problem. Buck 20, it's actually getting well out of the way of people. I can only assume he had some kind of spin, but away he goes, nothing to see here. And he'll get out of the way as well, almost impeding levels there on the Haas car. That'll be dubious, possibly investigated by the stewards. But through in what is not looking like a very dry Austrian track, which I'm very sad about. But maybe it will be for the race, who knows. Of course, a 35% distance for the second race of the day, or evening, or afternoon, depending on where you're watching this from. But lots of drama to come, I am sure. Using all the curb on the outside, pinch it in the second to last corner, the place where track limits can be a problem. The second place where track limits can be a problem. None of those have caught out Stark across the line, and it's a 1 minute 5.1. Next across the line is Captain Wilco. He goes up next with a 1 minute 4.7. Lovely stuff. Jamie Tarquin, by the way, in the Ferrari. Here's his teammate Maximus across the line. And he goes with 1 minute 7.2, although I assume now restarting his lap because his battery is brimmed to the max. Giraffe will be next across the line. That's on a time lap, I believe. No, it's Vulcan. He goes third fastest. Lovely stuff. What can Giraffe do? It's third fastest. He takes that away from Vulcan. Prizes it from his clutches. Just a 10th between them. Although King Dede comes through with smoke in that Haas car. Only 2/10 off Stark. Very well done. Who's next? Buck 57. That's the answer. There's some questions you can answer really quickly in this particular season, and this is one of them. Buck 57 crosses the line, goes fourth fastest, 5 thousandths off King Dede. A mega lap from the Haas driver. Magico P8, but again, full battery, filled up to the brim, and away he goes and wide through turn number 1. A banker there set without using any battery whatsoever, and perhaps that could be the way to go forward. Set the banker just on raw pace, and then give people some real issues to talk about, as Maximus does get a representative lap in, and up into P3 he goes. Stark across the line next, and he's just starting a lap time, so what can you do? Slam, though, up into P7, just behind his teammate. Hardly anything to separate the Mercedes Friends. Fantastic. Giraffe peeling into the pits at the end of his lap. Buck 57, I imagine, will do exactly the same. Looked like he was pushing it, but into the pits he does peel indeed. Magico's the man on the move, though. Albeit briefly. Gonna go for another lap. Battery filled to the brim. And away he goes. Does flick on the ERS and over the line. And DRS flap is wide open. Don't ask us about our Friday nights, but through the first corner, Jamie Tarquin arrives on the scene. In other news, half a second. We've said that one before, though, and we've seen it tumbling down towards the end of the session. But what a statement. Again, his first lap of the Blackout evening, where I'm commentating from anyway. And he puts, just casually, now only 4 temps on top of the head of the next person, and that's Stark on aging soft tyres. To be 4 temps behind Jamie Tarquin is mightily commendable. Let's see what Guardian can do, though. Through into turn number 3. Full lock. Straighten out the car. Plant on the power. Surge your way down towards the next corner. As into sector 2. We are well into it. Pinch it in. A little bit more speed to be taken into there. It's a bit of a trail-braking corner, the right-hander. Just want to let the car almost rotate on the braking as the weight is piled onto the front nose. Through the left-hander. All kept well within track limits, though, crucially. And that's where a lot of people could falter today, remember. Especially through that corner he's just gone through. But he easily gets through there with no problems. As I would be absolutely... Well, I thought I'd be inclined to believe that Stark has run out of fuel, but he seems absolutely fine. So that is good news, and we can move on to the next person, who's Guardian, who crosses the line and goes P10, just ahead of Mr. Magico. Magico again on another flying lap, meanwhile. The DRS of the Mercedes man opening up, just giving him a cheeky little wave as Mr. Giraffe, currently sitting pretty in P5. You love to see it. The qualifying hero, once again, doing what he does best and just soaking in the glory, to be honest with you. Stark through the final corner, and again, he goes for another flying lap. This is on the same set of softs, so clearly thinking he has time to find on the table. That could be a hell of a statement. He says him in the last corner don't get on, but it seems like the Spielberg track's getting on with him absolutely fine. Meanwhile, down into P15, Terziak is shunted, because on the scene arrives Big Samuel. Welcome along to Blackout in Austria. It's great to have you on board. Wilco on an outlap, meanwhile, on fresh softs. So the barometer now is Wilco. We'll see the Golf. Stark didn't start his lap too long ago. We'll see what kind of pace Stark has. Only a 10th down as he enters into Sector 2, despite the age of his softs. Through the left-hander, keeps well within track limits. Only loses 6,000. Still finding great pace, despite the age of those softs now. Got a great routine into his flying laps through the last 2 corners, as my computer has a crippling skill issue. You hate to see it. Please load back in. There we go. He's gone into the pits, of course he has, but Wilco's now the man to watch. A 10th up on his current time, as Terziak only goes P3 for the time being. So Stark on older tyres manages to go faster than last race's race winner. That's mightily impressive indeed. Thanassi, though, well, he's P13. He's washed. He is actually washed. For the first time ever, I can actually say that. He's not on pole position. He's 14th. What are you doing? Dearie me. Well, let's see where Wilco ends up. Across the line, he goes up into P3. Still behind Stark, though. So what a lap Stark did on all the tyres. Jamie Tarquin out for another outlap, meanwhile. Only 9 minutes of qualifying gone, and it feels like I've done a marathon so far. Thanassi probably gets a cheeky bit of slipstream from his teammate there. Great teamwork. The AlphaTauri boys know how to do teamwork, it must be said. No idea if it was a purple Sector 1, but it could well be a purple Sector 2. We wait to find that one out. Very clean through there. It is a purple Sector 2. 2.3 seconds up on his lap currently. But 2.3 seconds would only put him in P2 for the time being. He needs to find so much time through these last two corners. Out of the final corner he goes. Of course, battery being used. I'm surprised that wasn't invalidated. But it's not pole. It is not pole. 8 thousandths is the gap between himself and Jamie Tarquin. So still, the battle for pole continues and there's hardly anything to separate our front few. Fantastic. First sector, though, almost a 1.5 tenth improvement there. Jamie Tarquin only a 4,000th improvement on his current flying lap. So Thanassi still finding some time, finding a tiny bit of slipstream, but he has no battery left. Remember, he's going to be losing time all the while as he heads down that straight and down towards the next corner. Time he can ill afford to lose in his conquest for pole position. Through the left-hander, he's pushing that car to every single possible limit. But it's not going to be enough. He's lost 2 tenths alone. Jamie Tarquin over the second sector split. Improvement by... Massive accident! Oh, no! Horrendous accident. As Logan Sargent is waiting in the garage, ready for his lap to be done. There's cars absolutely everywhere. And EA Sports and Codemasters once again have another skill issue. Wait a minute, can I drive? Spectator menu. Wait. I can't take control because I'm a spectator. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Well, Vulcan's gone fastest with 1 minute 5. And oh, he's in the wall as well. No. Oh, no. Top tier game, we have a 20-second timer at the mo. Well. Right, what's going on here then? Vulcan's left. Wilco has left. You can only assume it's been absolutely shambolic. It has been absolutely shambolic. So, we now have to quit out. And we wait again to do Austria qualifying. I don't know if you do qualifying again or you do one shot. You know what, lads? Lads, listen. Why am I being... I'm not being Doctor Stranged. Help. Escape me from this nightmare. Full quali, I think. Okay. I would have said do one shot quali, pressure in that, but fair enough. To be quite clear, I'm not the event organizer. And rightly so, because my championship would probably be chaos, but oh well. Looks like we are back to, well, trying to figure out why my camera doesn't work. Configure video. My camera's not deactivate when not showing. Device default. I had all assists locked on, so quit to try and fix, but was hosting it. Oh dear. Well, that's not ideal, I'll be honest with you. But, you know, it swings and roundabouts is what I'll say. I'm going to return. Somehow. There's me. I swear there's a bigger one. Hello. It's me again. Right, well, that's a shambles, let's be honest with you. I had enough of a standby screen. So, what do we do now? Well, the answer is probably start a new lobby and then go from there. The answer is he has already started a new lobby, and I'm going to join the game. Might even just do a qualifying lap for the fun of it, to be honest with you. I'll put myself a spectator for now. Is that Cars merch I see? Yes, it is. The Lightning McQueen Dynaco box. Yours for just a reasonable price of £149.99. It is quite decrepit, though. I'll be honest with you. If you can't see one of the corners, but it's grotty. It is very grotty. I will say that much. Right. So as I was going to do before, I'm actually going to do my football career whilst we are waiting for this lobby to reinvigorate itself. You're really selling it. Thanks, Stark. I'll send you the invoice later. So, I'm going to press record. I'm going to have 2 years between transfers, and there's only really one way you can win as a footballist, and that is at striker. In fact, you know what? I could be a left winger. I'm going to be a left winger. Follow Ronaldo's first. A left forward. Oh, dear. Whose youth academy? I'm joining Club America's youth academy in Mexico. Oh, it's going to be reversed again. I'm joining their academy in Mexico. Right, that's probably not ideal, but let's find out. Let's see what kind of money we can get and stuff, because that's important in football. Monaco have come calling for 26 million. I think go to Monaco. That's a good job there. Let's see what we get next. We can't see our stats in this particular instance. Bodo Glimt and Fluminense, which sound for a free track. No, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. You sound like a pneumonia infection, and you're also disrespecting me. Oh. I can either go to Adana Demirspor or to Fardin's favourite team, Real Sociedad. I think I'm going to go to Real Sociedad. Show Real Madrid what they were missing out on. Now, 2 teams once again are thrilled. Chelsea! I can go to my favourite. Well, they did finish 12th, though. So, one could say they're kind of washed, but their performance against Man City was highly commendable. And I respect them for that, so I'm going to join them in perseverance and prosperity and go to Chelsea. 2 more clubs are yet interested in receiving my services. One of them is Celtic. And for 125 million, you think Celtic have got that kind of money to spend? That is bold. I'm staying with my current team, Chelsea. Now, what other team have we got in store? No one's ready up for qualifying yet, so I'm just going to wait and see what on earth happens. Wolfsburg or VfL Bochum. Bless me. I'm staying with Chelsea, to be quite clear. I'm a loyal man. If I join no team, that's bad. No teams are interested. That's actually really bad. Right. Let's see if Real Madrid or Barcelona come calling. No, there's Eintracht Frankfurt or Marzipan Club from Serbia. I know they're called Partizan, but I simply don't care. Staying with Chelsea, and again, 2 clubs are interested: Granada and Genoa, which is a sponge. So I'm not going to them. I'm staying at Chelsea. My 77 million value is staying the same. Girona from Spain. No chance, mate. Absolutely no chance. You're laughing if you think that's the case. Nashville in the United States. Nashville, you got good fried chicken, but you ain't got good footballists. So I'm staying with Chelsea as manager. These are my stats then. I don't know what they are, because they're in reverse. I got 624 appearances, 253 assists as a left forward. My camera's out of focus now. Great. 849 goals. Oh my god, this is good. Yellow cards, 56. I'm a good boy so far. How many red cards, though? That's the question. 11. I'm a Sergio Ramos, but I like to get my foot stuck in. 9 league titles. Okay, now we're cooking. No Champions Leagues. That's not ideal. But World Cups. 1 World Cup. Ballon d'Or. Come on. Surely, as we're about to head into qualifying, 3 Ballon d'Ors. Yes. Unbelievable career, ladies and gentlemen. I stayed loyal to Chelsea. My faith was paid off handsomely. And with that, we can now rejoin our faith in glorious and revelling rapture to once again the Blackout Racing League. We're back for short qualifying once again. Back to do it all over again. We're doing another full qualifying, because it is a 35% race and they can afford to do that. So, away we go then. But it seemed like Jamie Tarquin was on the pace. Absolutely. It seemed like also Stark was on the pace. Not to tempt fate, but that's just what I saw, to be quite clear. So, when it loads. There we go. Back for qualifying. 18 minutes of qualifying once again. And we're going to take it nice and relaxed here. Nice and relaxed indeed. 15 of the very finest find themselves at the mercy of 1,000 horsepower units. And you do love to see it. So out of the pits first once again. I'm going to make a confident prediction and say it is this man. And I am the prediction king. Captain Wilco is off and running. In this qualifying session, once again, lap data is enabled. And away we go. If you want a preview of the Austrian Grand Prix track and what you can expect, don't bother listening for one, because I already said it earlier when we had the first attempt of qualifying. And, well, all you need to know is that it was a shambles. Because skill issues from EA, quite frankly. So, we go and do it all again then. This time, Buck 20 is the one behind Wilco and not going for the overtake. Lots of people out on the track all at once. Such a short lap. It's like a joyride. In fact, history does repeat itself, albeit with a different driver. Buck 20 overtakes Captain Wilco this time, instead of it being Stark. So, what can the McLaren man do then? Time for him to show his true colours in the second attempt of qualifying. Here we go. Turn up the noise and turn up the volume. We'll ride on board with a flying lap of the Austrian Grand Prix, but with Buck 20. Oh no. Oh no. Guardians in the wall. Oh no. Oh no. Right, so one papaya machine has capitulated. Let's hope the other one doesn't, as we look through his lap once again. One corner, two corner, and onto the main straight, perfectly within the limits. Buck 20 across the line, the banker this time, a 1 minute 4.5. Now we're talking. Wilco, though, with a 1 minute 4.4. They really have got their eye into this Austrian Grand Prix track. King Didi with a 1 minute 5.1. Maximus not crossing the line because it's, well, I thought it was Jamie Tarquin because he just completed an outlap. Stark fourth with 1 minute 5.2. Probably not showing his true colours just yet, though. Vulcan the last of the time setters, and now Maximus will cross the line, set 1 minute 8.9. But it's Giraffe who goes third with a 1 minute 5.1. That's beautiful as Buck 57 crosses the line to start his first lap of the session. A bit of a slide from Mr. Well, so I said it was a slide there. Words. I said it was a bit of a slide, but he was just getting out of the way of anyone who was on a charge behind him. And Buck 57 being on a charge, he gets dutifully out of the way, and that is all she wrote. The Alpine Terziak then goes fastest. 1 minute 4.2. There we go. Big Sam into 7th. Magico into 9th. We'll see, though, where Jamie Tarquin ends up. This is where things could get very zesty indeed. The man with only one lap in the qualifying session last time out, before it was so horribly curtailed, now has a prime chance to show his stuff even more. Through the final corner, he hasn't started a lap at all, in fact. He goes out the final corner. He's, in fact, washed. To be quite clear, this is all what I'm saying is a joke. He is not washed by any stretch of the imagination. Unless he crashed just then, in which case history would have really not looked upon him very favourably. Slam through the final two corners. Does he keep it within limits? Of course he keeps it within the limits. And across the line goes the Mercedes man to go P8 with a 1 minute 5.3. Very nice indeed. Buck 57, by the way, a 1 minute 4.9. So that is absolutely excellent. Alpha Tauri now fourth. The other one having a siesta in a garage. What's going on there? And is that Mr. Magico I spot going through for another lap? The answer is yes, it could be. And yes, it is. Again, looking for confidence on those soft tyres is not necessarily a bad move. We've seen Stark do it. We've seen Magico do it. And they're doing it again here. Clearly, with the amount of time and how short the lap is, you don't blame them for giving it a damn good shot. As Jamie Tarquin pulls into the pits, actually. So not going the way he thought. Stark, meanwhile, set a purple Sector 2 out of nowhere. Old tyres, then, might seem to be the way to go. Unbelievable. Just racking up the miles. Keeping it valid, which he does. Through the last corner. Keeps that valid. Yes, he does. And across the line he'll go for 1 minute 4.6. Much more like it from Stark. Almost identical to what he set in the first attempt of qualifying. He now invalidates the first corner on this lap, but it doesn't really matter because his battery is dead. Magico, though, the man on the move. He has still got his lap valid. In fact, he has decided not to carry on through with his initial desire. He goes back into the pit lane. And my waifu is going to sit in the garage and have a nice cocktail. Terziak, meanwhile, on a flying lap once again. Or was on a flying lap. He had no battery left, so I assume he was. But into the pits he goes. It's in fact Thanassi, the man to watch. This time we'll ride on more for the whole thing. Couldn't quite price pole position off Jamie Tarquin in the first attempt. Let's see what he does against Terziak. So turn number 1 then, braking between the 100 and the 50. Use a bit of curb. The car is mercifully stable on the exit as he now powers on towards the top, the precipice of the mountain, which is the peak. At turn number 3, uses all the curbing on the outside. A purple sector 1 for the AlphaTauri man. Shock. Towards the right-hander, DRS wide open under the Pirelli sponsorship badge. Brake as late as you dare, and the car will rotate handsomely. You can use some curb on the outside this year without being spat into a chapter of Narnia. Through the left-hander we go, and without greeting Voldemort, Thanassi does so with flying colours. Into the left-hander, a little bit too much speed carried, has to scrub it off to make sure he pinches into the apex at the latter stages. Right-hander to go, brake at 50. My God, the confidence is immense through the right-hander there, and it's wide out of the final corner, gets it on the grass, and that was very dubious to say the least, but it is the fastest time. Somehow no invalidation, but the answer is because he was on the grass. So perhaps using the game mechanics to his advantage. You either love it or you hate it. Stark, by the way, has decided not to take part in this session anymore. And I have no idea why. I have no idea what's happened. Perhaps that was his one lap and then he called it a day. And if that's the case, I don't blame him. Buck 57 on that lap invalidates it at the last corner, so cannot start his flying lap. Anyway, I say just ahead. Coming up under the Pirelli bridge. My God, how late did he brake? Jamie Tarquin, that is confidence if you've ever seen it. See, you all think that's a mistake. It's actually a 400 IQ move to help Wilco. I totally didn't lose it on old tyres on the exit of T1 and meet... Oh. That's what I missed. Never mind then. Out of Sector 2. Jamie Tarquin is weaving about. The answer is he's hardly used any battery on this lap. He's recharged it. Through the final 2 corners he goes. Best attack possible through the final corner. And opening DRS, off he goes again for another lap. It's a 3-second improvement on his initial time, so he's ahead of his teammate despite everything. But it's no consolation because he's in 13th place. Stark meets Barrier then, and just like any person you're fond of in the club, we don't discriminate. Any person you're fond of in the club, they bite back quite terribly. Maximus up into P8 meanwhile. So he doesn't meet Barrier. Barrier is a very flippant customer, by the way. Has a bit of a flippant personality, it must be said. Can be sweet as a rose, smooth as silk, all the rest, you know, all the analogies you could ask for. And then can spit in your eyes, slap you across the chops, and throw you into the milling machine. Jamie Tarquin with a purple Sector 2, meanwhile. That's more like it. The 2 that could be fighting it, though. Nay, 3 that could be fighting out. Apologies. Disrespect to Terziak there. Could Jamie Tarquin be the first man into the 1 minute 3s, just missing the apex at the second to last corner a little bit. Keeps it well within track limits at the second point. Across the line, it is P2 for the moment. And with time to find, crucially. So great from Jamie Tarquin as he goes for a joyride out to the escape road. So, Jamie Tarquin, Terziak and Thanassi, the people to watch as we head through into the latter phases of this qualifying session. Buck 57's across the line, meanwhile. 1 minute 4.9 he's on, and he cuts turn 1 very fine indeed. I think it was a marginal improvement for the AlphaTauri driver, so there you go. Nice. Who else is on a lap? The answer is it's not Big Samuel Magico. It's just about to start a flying lap. And let's survey my husband's majesty. Actually, King Didi's about to finish a lap, so let's see how he does. Across the line, marginal improvement once again here. It's a fine balance between pushing the car to the limit and pushing the track to its limits. Very easy to overextend and get it all crossed up. But if you get it just right, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Slam across the line, meanwhile, goes up to P9. So great effort from him. Giraffe, by the way, on an outlap, got a 1 minute 4.6. That's incredible from Giraffe. My word, the qualifying merchant, well, not merchant, actually, that's blatant disrespect. Got P5 in the previous race. But my qualifying hero is absolutely on smoke. And he's going to be on more smoke as he opens up his flap. Please stop. And through to turn 1 he goes. Misses the apex. Gets it crossed up on the exit. And he's aborted the lap. So let's see how Magico... Oh no! Magico in the wall! The last corner claims a victim. It bites. The Banshee Barrier has done it again. The front left shin clean off the front of the Red Bull of Magico's car. And my husband finds himself locking eyes with Barrier, who rather mercilessly crucifies any chances of a time improvement, to say the least. For Thanassi, it's not such an improvement in his time. At least he's not in the wall. But dearie, dearie me, the Austrian Grand Prix track claims yet another victim in its walls. If the walls could talk, they would say, oh, that front left tyre tasted nice. To which I say, why are you eating rubber? You freak! Why would you do that? Eat something more homely, like, I don't know, a bicycle. Thanassi, by the way, just completed a flying lap. I already said this, but he was 7.5 tenths down on it. Took didn't take liberties with track limits at all. He actually kept very, very safely within the track limits. As a result, that's why there was no particular improvement, although with the dying stages of this qualifying session still to go. Can a Jamie Tarquin steal it? Can a Terziak steal it? Can even a Buck 20 steal it? Here he is. On board with the McLaren. Not using as much of the outside as he could dare to. In fact, dare I say, he's coasting, and he is. Look at that, 1.3 seconds down on his time. Jamie Tarquin, meanwhile, is on a lap. Let's survey the prancing horse. Magico says, I died. Space Ghost, can you confirm this? Through the hairpin he goes then. No idea if it was a good hairpin or not. I was reading the chat. All the cool kids get to meet Barry. Exactly. There are only 3 kids in the Cool Kids Club currently. And do all the other drivers have that accolade? No, they don't. Exactly. So take pride in the knowledge that you have met and locked eyes with Mr. Barrier. Jamie Tarquin does hit that apex wonderfully. I've no idea what the time's like. My God, there was a Mercedes waiting there. And Jamie Tarquin oh my God, what on earth has happened there? Front wing gone, and it's a moment of Matt. Right. Well, Jamie Tarquin heard my plea. All the cool kids get to meet Barry, and Jamie Tarquin has decided to join the club. But perhaps that wasn't the best way to do it. That was sus. That was indeed very sus. I am questioning what on earth has happened there, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's what I'm asking as well, Magico. Trust me. Let's watch Wilco and brand that out of my skull, because I never want to see that again. Wilco, DRS wide open. Barry wasn't impressed. No, Barry wasn't impressed at all, in fact. He rejected him at the first time of asking. He was not part of the Cool Kids Club. In fact, he's crying in the corner of the club, to be honest with you. But what about Captain Wilco? He's not crying in any club currently. He's relishing the challenge here. Only 2 thousandths between him and Buck 20. And still plenty of this qualifying session to go. And by plenty, I mean 2.5 minutes. Which, let's be honest, in Austria terms, is plenty. Through the left-hander he goes. Oh, spin! loses the car, but luckily for him, doesn't meet Barry R. But the unfortunate thing is he doesn't get to meet the cool kids or be in the cool kids club, and that is a shame. That is a real shame. So now he is crying in A club, but I'm sure he'll reload the thing. He did find the limit. And that's really what you need, to be honest with you. If you do find the limit, but not Barry R, then you know how hard to push it, how much curb you can use, how much throttle you can input, how much of the track limits you can muster. Has out the final corner. Through goes Captain Wilco again. Meanwhile, let's see the times begin to tumble. Wilco through the final corner. What can he do across the line? Only up to P12 with that improvement. Next up is Terziak, who's on an outlap. Across the line he goes to begin his last lap, surely, of this qualifying session. Big Sam moves ahead of Vulcan. Fine margins indeed there. As the AlphaTauri of Thanassi begins his lap, the Red Bull moves dutifully out of the way, as does King Didi. He begins his lap as well. Actually, no, he doesn't. I'm a fool. I'll tell you who's next, though. It's either Slap or Giraffe well, I think he's either retired from the session or he's crashed. I've no idea what happened. Whether he's in the Cool Kids Club is another matter, but Slam across the line doesn't go into the 1 minute fours, but that's because he wasn't even trying. So, first one across the line will be this man, Captain Wilco. And in fact, Buck 20 and Maximus will have the most optimal of the conditions. Buck 57 with connection issues probably wanted to get one more flying lap in. No, Wilco at the last moment invalidates his lap. And it was anyway over ever so slightly over his initial time. So it will be a 1 minute 4.4. Let's see what everyone else can do as Buck 20 begins his final flying lap of the session. What does Terziak do? The answer is he's charged the batteries, waiting for the track to be rubbered up to its most, and off he goes again. Maximus on his outlap crosses the line, and away he goes. Only one Ferrari left. King Didi crosses the line, and no improvement as such, but he's got full battery. Everyone deciding that full battery is the way to go. A little warm-up lap ting. Very interesting tactic. The Mercedes that sprouted side pods. What can Slam do? The answer is find his way to the changing room. So let's find out what Buck 20 can do. The Battle of the Bucks in this particular instance is won by this man. This is the part where the +8 wings will come in handy. But probably only this section. Doesn't invalidate it, just keeps it within the limits. Very nicely done indeed. Down towards the second to last corner he goes. Flies into the apex. And again to the second apex. Keeps it well within the limits. Is it an improvement for the McLaren man? Yes, it is. And he's up into P3 for the time being. But still plenty of times to find. One of which is this man. Maximus, a 10th up on his time initially. What can he put in? 6th place so far. King Didi next across the line. And then it's Thanassi in the AlphaTauri. Can he improve? Yes, he can. A 1 minute 3.8 is the time to beat. Terziak cannot improve his lap time. Into the pits he goes. I have no idea what happened, but that's the end of his session. It'll be no more than P4 for the Alpine driver. Thanassi claims yet another pole position in the Blackout Racing League, and the only man to close in on the 1 minute 3s and pass that threshold. A very impressive effort indeed, as it always is, from the AlphaTauri driver. Jamie Tarquin in second with a circumspect ending to qualifying. Barry R, not impresso. Buck 20, P3, Terziak, P4. Third row is Wilco and Maximus, with fourth row Stark and Giraffe. Despite Stark meeting Barry R, he still starts on the peak of the fourth row. Buck 57 in ninth, King Didi in 10th with Slam, Big Sam, Vulcan, Magico and Guardian, rounding out your grid lineup. Well then, the 35% race is still to go. And you best believe it's going to be chaos. You know it will be. You know it absolutely will be. Into the pit lane we are. There are the cars on your right in grid order. Thanassi, Jamie Tarqui, Buck 20 and Terziak, your top four. Can't see Thanassi. He's too quick, so they didn't give him any screen time. I apologise. At least F1 23 is realistic in some way. Well, then let's head over to the race director then, since that was an interesting vantage point. Softs for the top 3. Look at that. And the Xbox boys 1 and 2. Softs for the top 3. Terziak on mediums. Wilco on softs. A couple of hard tyre runners in Maximus and Slam, the Irish connection, going about the rounds. But then everywhere else, it's softs and mediums for the most part, looking to find as much traction as possible. Not the most amount of tyre wear at Austria either, so there's every chance that the softs to mediums can work and should work here at the Red Bull Ring. The Red Bulls didn't have the rub of the green in qualifying, to put it nicely. But it is the Red Bull Ring. It is a crowd of adoring Red Bull fans, no less, and a backdrop of simply sensational proportions in the background, lined with mountains and trees galore. So while qualifying was a bit of a nightmare, the fairy tale is yet to be written as we go away for the formation lap. We haven't done one of these in a while, and it is a fully fledged formation lap. None of this fast formation lap malarkey. We're not doing any of that. We're keeping it nice and realistic. As Thanassi instead went for the mediums, Jamie Tarquin on the softs, offsetting against the AlphaTauri driver. So then, let's have a look at what tyres everybody has for this race. The answer is it's only mediums and softs now. The hard tyre runners that originally went on deciding that actually the hard tyre is a pile of poo. And they're right. So instead of stinking up the gaff, they've cleared up their act very quickly. And so mediums and softs are the way to go. Softs to mediums or mediums to softs, but it also can be mediums to hards. Saw this in Bahrain. Timalele went mediums hards. Tom went soft to medium. In that particular instance, it looked like soft medium, or medium soft I think it was the way to go. But in the end, the tyres on the medium hard strategy, on that harder compound conquest, was the winning factor. On the last straight, the last traction zone, no less. So, everything to play for. Guardian taking his time. Possibly going for a bit of acrobatics. But you know what? It warms up the tyres more. And that was my F122 tactic. So you know what? I respect him for that. Buck 57, meanwhile. What's happened here? Looks like a gearbox problem. In my mind. Gets on his merry way once again. Looks like he doesn't want to be sitting on the grid for too long. While in, well, in the game, at least, you don't have to worry about that. Instead, you can hang back, let your tyres be at the optimum temperature, whilst the others wait on the grid and let their tyres become Eskimo igloos. So, F to them, I suppose, but they line up on the grid. None of the drivers have been disqualified just yet, which is great news. That means they've parked well within the marks. Look how aggressively Guardian is pointed, by the way. You can see it on the offboard shot. Look how far right he's pointed. Starlin, is that you? Anyway. Enough about the communist whatever. We're going to watch a full-on wide view here. Off the start. Let's watch it, because why not? 5 red lights in Austria. Lights out and away we go, and Jamie Tarquin gets a scorching start on the soft tyres. Inside line is his, and through into the lead goes the Ferrari man straight away. Big Sam down to 15th. Chaos happening at turn number 1 as Guardian makes up 3 positions in a corner. So then, Jamie Tarquin in the lead, and Buck 20 piling the pressure on Thanassi now as the Aston Martin of Stark trying to go around the outside there. And does indeed go around the outside of Buck 57 at least. Now has slipstream of Giraffe ahead of him. Giraffe though trying not to hang around. Terziak's got a terrible start from P4 now down to P6. Behind even Maximus in the Ferrari. Thanassi though straight away outside of a second as Buck 20. Look at the amount of pressure he's piling on the championship leader. Soft tyres screeching into life straight away. The mediums just taking their time, managing themselves. Through the final corner then, Jamie Tarquin, 1.4 seconds almost is the gap between the Ferrari man and the AlphaTauri driver. Then it's Buck 20 in P3, looking to put the pressure on. Captain Wilco in P4, Maximus in 5th, Terziak in 6th. Giraffe in 7th, Stark in 8th. As things just started to settle down a little bit, although Buck 20 looking very racy, extremely racy. Down the inside of the hairpin he goes. Look at that, he tries to... Oh, I thought Thanassi was going to go for the switchback. I was going to say he tries to get the car stopped in time, but he masterfully stomped on the brakes there. And away Buck 20 goes. Soft tyres for the moment are the way to go. Excellent start to the race if you're on a soft tyre, as Thanassi makes a mistake. Wilco now trying to go through. Round the outside, he doesn't even need to wait, as he's already passed the top 3 of soft tyre runners. Incredible, revelling in success, as Buck 57, what's happened to Stark? No, had a spin. Oh, dearie me, but hasn't met Barrier. The coolest kid in the cool kid club today, seemingly, does keep his car pointed the right way, and that also does make him pretty cool. Jamie Tarquin, though, 1 minute 6.4. Well, actually, it's Buck 20 with 1 minute 6.4. Jamie Tarquin not hanging around for 1 second, though. Wilco looking to get past Buck 20. With DRS open, these two can actually work together to escape Thanassi here if they think about it. Let Wilco get ahead. Buck 20 can get the DRS for the next DRS zone. And then use that traction to their advantage. Use the rear wing opening up to their advantage. Get that extra speed, pile on the pressure, and just use each other as almost a tow rope, to be honest with you. I mean, look, Wilco got up 4 tenths to Jamie Tarquin just by using DRS in that one straight. Or perhaps Wilco really does have lightning pace. That's the theory. We'll find out. We'll find out what the analysis is like very soon on the Skypad. I'm joking, I'm not going to use a Skypad. The lead still remains with Jamie Tarquin. Then the battle for P2 is where things are getting interesting. Terziak did get past Maximus. Now up into P5. And now things can begin to start getting zesty. Giraffe in P7, though, looking for a way past Maximus. That's going to be the main battle. I'm watching with interest Buck 20's battle with Wilco. A decent exit for Giraffe, and he will have a good bout of DRS. As he's gaining on Maximus some more. Has the inside line, goes down the inside on Maximus, and he doesn't, oh goodness me, almost completely misses the corner. Luckily neither driver gets forced off the track or forces each other off. It's just argy-bargy stuff. Giraffe does get through in the end. Terziak though, oh no, what's happened? A move trying to be made. Drama between the championship top 2. Thanassi off the track and into the gravel trap. As Terziak now up into P4. The gulf now 2 seconds. What on earth went on there? Unbelievable. Sound like Gary Neville. But goodness me, what drama there. Terziak looked like he was going to make a move on Thanassi. Well, for whatever reason, something went completely to pot. Thanassi now down in P8. P8 behind this teammate and Maximus, who are all in the DRS trade now. So that is, well, the worst case scenario, quite apart from meeting Barrier. The absolute worst case scenario possible for the AlphaTauri driver. 3 wide it is momentarily. Thanassi sweeps past both his teammate and Maximus. Back up into P6. I'll tell you what, he's not behind other cars very often, but when he is, boy does he know how to turn up the wick. Jamie Tarquin, though, just setting about eating up the miles. On board with nose cam. If Voldemort is offended, I don't really care, to be honest with you, because unfortunately that's just the way the cookie crumbled, or in this case his nose crumbled. Down towards the second to last corner then. 2.3 seconds now the gap between Jamie Tarquin and his closest challenger. I predicted 4 safety cars this race. Lap 5 out of 25, we're a fifth of the way through, and so far, nothing is materialising on that front. For a brief moment, there could have been one as Thanassi tobogganed down the order. Giraffe, though, catching up to Terziak. Look at this. DRS for the Mercedes man, but he's got the ever-growing pressure of Thanassi as Wilco there in front, going for the move on Buck 20 with DRS. Buck 20 remains on his rear quarter, and that almost got very zesty. Thanassi, though, again, goes wide again. What on earth is going on between Thanassi and Terziak? I have no idea. Something absolutely catastrophic, though. Terziak does wait in behind this time. It looks like there's loads of contact being made. Terziak's completely flustered. Giraffe could have a go at the Alpine driver. Could have damage as well, considering he didn't really catch up. But he's all crossed up. Look at this. His head's completely gone. I have no idea what's happened. But it's catastrophic circumstances for the man in second place chasing Thanassi at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Jamie Tarquin's laughing at this. He's cackling. He can't really believe his luck. On to lap number 7 he goes now. Giraffe with a 3-second time penalty for track limit. So, suboptimal, but 2.7 seconds almost the gap now between El Capitan and Jamie Tarquin. Jamie Tarquin looking to grow that forever more as Maximus comes into the pits. So what on earth happened to Maximus? I can only assume there was a catastrophic collision. Like 3-wide sandwich or something. Into the pits he goes. Right, I've seen more comprehensible hieroglyphics than that camera. And there was already a front wing on there, so they've really just replaced nothing. Classic Ferrari moment, really. Buck 20 once again overtakes Wilco. But he can't seem to have the raw pace on Jamie Tarquin. Wilco kept up pretty well, actually. But through the left-hander, using a bit of curb. Actually, Jamie Tarquin now 2.8 seconds clear of the McLaren man. This is wonderful news for him. He can just absolutely fly in this race. Thanassi now, meanwhile, catching up to the back, but that does mean dirty air. There's not much of it, but there's at least a tiny bit of it. To some extent. Terziak will now have the DRS, and it becomes, once again, this time a 4-car DRS train. Hopefully with less of a catastrophic conclusion. Is my hope, anyway. Lap number 8, and Wilco goes for the move on Buck 20. Round the outside once again he goes. And it is another position gained. DRS will be Buck 20's for the taking, though. And they'll try to defend from Thanassi, who looks to the outside line, but has to wait his time. That goes extremely wide. Trying to find any kind of cutback, but no, not this time. High IQ does not necessarily mean a position gained. I was going to think of an example just then, and then I remembered they had low IQ. So I was going to say Mazepin, but he had very low IQ. So, anyway, the battle for second continues. Now 3.4 seconds is the gap. That becomes ever more alarming, because this man in the Ferrari is galloping off into the sunset. Or rather, the midday sun. Oh, no, Guardian, what's happened there? Off on the left there, you can see on the minimap, has met Barrier, and he's been slapped across the chops completely, but it is a safety car in this race. So the field is neutralized. And so now we wait patiently. Buck 20 straight into the pits. He's not waiting for 1 second there. Out of the pits he comes, using that reduced delta time. So hopefully good advantage. Of course, the pack not allowed to go at full speed. So this is a good opportunity for him to pit straight away. Onto the hard tyres he goes, as does Slam. Magico on mediums. Vulcan on hard. Stark on mediums. Maximus already pitted and he's on hards. Quite a long way away from the back of the pack, but it should not be a problem. I can only assume the front 8 will pit now for their 1 pit stop of the day. And then we'll see what other zesty action goes on from there. Terziak again, very close to Thanassi. All getting look like a bit frosty between them, actually. No idea what happened in that first bit of contact. Thanassi, though, ended up in the gravel trap. Then the second bit, Thanassi off the track again. So no idea, but into the pits they all come, predictably. Jamie Tarquin, the first in. Hopefully he can get out ahead of the train. The answer is yes, he can, and that's great news. In fact, aliens are at play because he phased through another car, but he'll easily keep the lead of this race. There's a big chance, well, the AlphaTauris are going to have to stack. There's no other way that's going to conclude. But Giraffe, now up into P4 for a brief moment. Let's see where Buck 20 comes out in all of this. The answer is he's ahead of Thanassi, back where he was in P3, so no time lost whatsoever there. Great news for the McLaren man. Still remains in a podium position. Here we are then. First safety car of the Austrian Grand Prix. Your running order so far. Mr. Tarquin in P1, having driven a commanding race so far. Wilco in P2 on new mediums. Buck 20 in P3 on new... In fact, everyone's tyres are new. I'm not going to stop saying that, but he's in third. Thanassi, your championship leader, in fourth. Giraffe up into fifth. Buck 57 in sixth. King DD in seventh, with Terziak in eighth place. Slam in ninth. Magico rounds out your top 10 with Big Sam, Vulcan, Stark, and Maximus rounding out your running order so far. I didn't get to commentate on the Austrian Grand Prix last year, which means none of you got my amazing, fun-filled facts about the Austrian Grand Prix. Home to one of the closest finishes in Formula 1 history, between Elio De Angelis and, I believe, Keke Rosberg. One of the closest margins in F1 history, I believe. As it came out of the final corner. Famous shot of De Angelis punching his fist into the air. Meanwhile, Terziak comes in again. That's very interesting indeed. Was on the soft tyres. But he's going to be right down to the back of the pack now, surely. He's going to lose so much time. Onto another set of mediums he goes. Could be an inspired decision. Phases through Stark, which is illegal, so that's going to be a docking from the stewards for the Alpine driver. Stark also does the same thing, though. Both of them with nothing to lose. Both of them now with the freshest tyres in the field. Albeit at the very back of the pack. Hackett says, come on, Thanassi, you got this. Let's hope for him that's a blessing and not a curse. We're going to call it the chat curse. Registered. So we wait behind a safety car now. Tyres are hardly going to be used or have any life squeezed out of them, which is good news for them. We just wait patiently for the race to get back underway and for the field to bunch back up, which they have now. And indeed, the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. So then, back racing they will go. Jamie Tarquin will be the barometer, the guide, the follow the leader man, the start of this car-infested conga. As through the left-hander he goes. Runnable with Wilco to see when he pulls the trigger. Weaving to get any kind of life and resuscitation into the tyres. Thanassi and Buck 57, by the way, have stayed on soft, so I have no idea if they're thinking that they can get to the end. But if they do, then that's impressive, to say the least. Jamie Tarquin, at the end of the second to last corner, goes for it and actually catches Wilco a bit unawares, but Buck 20 wasn't really paying attention either. In fact, he's now got Thanassi for company. The roles are reversed for the start of this race, and away we go for more racing here in Austria. Jamie Tarquin, P1, Wilco second, Buck 20 in third, Thanassi in P4, but immediately using the slipstream. He's not waiting around for 1 second here. Down the inside he goes, and that's surely as easy as you like. The answer is yes, it is. Sweeps right past Buck 20 and into P3. Giraffe keeping a watching brief in P5. Meanwhile, Big Sam moving up into P10 past Vulcan. Red Bull 9th and 10th of their home Grand Prix as things start to get very tasty indeed. Giraffe, by the way, commendable pace as Big Sam's lagging like a hamster currently. I don't know whether that's a bad omen, but hopefully it's not. Jamie Tarquin once again, though. I mean, look at that. He's saying about getting a gap straight away. 1.3 seconds the gap between himself and Wilco. Fantastic stuff. Gotta say, the pace is extremely impressive from the Ferrari driver, keeping it well within the limits and finding time in the process. Fastest lap of the race for a brief moment. In fact, not for a brief moment. It is the fastest lap of the race. And so his conquest for victory continues as Buck 20 gets a 3-second time penalty, and it's pain. Terziak, meanwhile, moves up into P12, albeit briefly, because here comes Stark. Switchbacks Maximus, and now is side by side with the Alpine driver. Both of them with nothing to lose and putting on one hell of a show for the Austrian crowd. Maximus down the inside, hits into Stark in the back. That's surely a front wing and emotional damage for the Ferrari man that's going to be required. Buck 20 moves up into P4, though. Well, I say that. It's Giraffe actually on the offensive. Switchback on Buck 20. Hello, sir. Out of nowhere. Has the momentum around the outside, surely. On the medium tyres. Giraffe up into P4. Look at that. Fantastic racing. Long may it continue. Long live Spielberger. Stark now into P11. He's rocketing through the order. At least that is the intention. He's certainly going for it. DRS enabled on this lap. Jamie Tarquin with almost 2 seconds of daylight, as Thanassi now will have DRS. And Wilco could play this quite smartly, actually, if he just lets him through, because he knows that the mediums do come into their own eventually. So if he just lets him through, stays behind at the detection point, will he do that? The answer is yes, he will. Very wise indeed from the captain. 2 seconds to gap, and he will have DRS now, and the offensive is his for the taking. Look at the overspeed he has, and as the inside line into the right-hander, Thanassi will try and go right round the outside, but nothing doing there. Wilco takes back that position, but for how much longer? Look at the pace Thanassi has. The traction is so much superior. That's not English, I don't really care, but the gap at 2 seconds, Thanassi now will chase down Jamie Tarquin for the front position. Well then, now things get interesting. It is completely roles reversed. Originally those on the softs, now on the mediums. Now Thanassi is the one on the softs, but will soon come under pressure from Wilco on the mediums. Hackett is wooing on his boy Thanassi, but with how powerful the DRS is, can he survive the onslaught? Wilco will be carried along in the process of all this, so he'll be thanking his lucky stars that this is the eventuality and the circumstance he finds himself in. Buck 20 and Giraffe are fighting furiously meanwhile. Good Lord Almighty. DRS now for the Mercedes man. No ERS left for either driver. To the inside goes Giraffe. He's halfway alongside his Giraffe. Down the inside goes Giraffe. Buck 20, though, using the momentum once again. Incredible racing between these two. Buck 20 once again. Good Lord Almighty, Giraffe was close there. Harry Krishna, though, doesn't look like his front wing has been sheared off. And that is great news indeed. Little battles developing in this race as Jamie Tarquin absolutely flown through those final 2 corners. Thanassi lost about 2 tenths just in the final 2 parts of that track. Now through the first corner, a little bit clumsy up on that sausage curve. Somehow still finding a time and gaining because he's using the battery big time. He's trying to get DRS on Jamie Tarquin. So this is where the mind games now start. Thanassi again. Will he go for DRS? The answer is no. He doesn't really have to. He's still catching up. The slipstream is still well in effect. All the while, though, Wilco is still well in the hunt. And a little bit of a snap on the brakes. The rear end getting extremely squirrely there. But Zeus saves the kamikaze squirrel and keeps the car pointing in the right direction once again. Impeccable car control. I'm trying to figure out, for some reason I just got an extreme wave of, like, it's not even nostalgia, just something that happened where someone, I can't remember. There was some example of someone, like, doing a certain amount, like, for instance, I don't know, Perez winning the race, getting fastest lap and leading every lap, but Verstappen saved the car well, so he won driver of the day. I don't know, I can't remember where it's from, but anyway, more to the point is the battle, the furious battle rages on like a roaring log fire between Giraffe and Buck 20, and it was soon, oh good lord, that was a very, very late move from Giraffe, but it means Buck 57 is easily through, and I'm sure Buck 20 won't be very impressed with that particular maneuver. I'm sure Giraffe was just retaking the racing line to try and just retake DRS, but he left it very, very late indeed. Should have kept his line to the middle. Going down the inside of Buck 57, though. He's trying to go for it, but here comes Buck 20 once again. He's waiting on the scene. Giraffe through past Buck 57. Buck 20 trying to go around the outside. Down the inside. Oh, no! Buck 57 with a little spin onto the infield. It's nothing too bad. Luckily, it's just a half spin. Keeps it together, and away he continues in this race. My God, though, what a shot in the arm it is for Stark and Terziak. Rather a shot in the foot, really. Not able to get through the pack nearly as quickly as they would have hoped. Yes, they've got the freshest tyres, but at what cost have they won this particular battle? Once again, though, It's Buck 20 going past Giraffe. King Dede's the one in P6 for the time being. But here comes Slam with a great switchback. Stark's now got momentum with DRS. He has the inside line. You're telling me it's going to be 3 wide into the hairpin? No, don't do that, boys. It could get extremely ugly. Stark down the inside. Hardly any room left on the outside. Magic goes through. Absolute chaos. Good lord, and a bicycle. My throat's dying. Lads, you're giving me so much chaos I can hardly keep up. Meanwhile, here's more chaos. Wilco's back past Thanassi, meanwhile. So all of that effort for Thanassi trying to get DRS. Now the mediums are coming into play. And Jamie Tarquin and Wilco will be licking their lips a little bit, it must be said. Albeit Wilco with a time penalty. But Thanassi can use this to his advantage now. Wilco with a time penalty might have the pace on Jamie Tarquin. And if so, just use him as a bit of a slipstream mule and a DRS mule. Just so we can try and keep up. 9 seconds, by the way. The front 3, night and day difference between them and the rest of the field throughout this race. Things got very ugly on that previous lap. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Once again, DRS wide open for every single driver. Look at how big the train is. As Buck 57 tries to get past not only Slam, but also Stark as well. Manages to get past, but Stark seems to go off towards Uzbekistan for a brief moment. But he's back on the track. Excellent stuff. Doesn't have DRS somehow, though, which is alarming for him, to say the least. Magico, by the way, up in P8. Oh, no! King Dede, what on earth's happened there? He's out of the Austrian Grand Prix. And a safety car to spare the blushes of the likes of Buck 20, who were so far behind. But now comes a decision. Do you pit or do you not? Jamie Tarquin's decided yes, he will. Oh, the whole front 3 coming in fact. Buck 57's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Oh dear. But it would surely be fresh. No, it's mediums for Jamie Tarquin. Very interesting indeed. Let's see what Thanassi goes on to. The answer is, of course, it's the soft tyres. Wilco, well, serving a 5-second penalty, but then away he goes. And now all his penalties removed. That means he's on softs. Jamie Tarquin, I hate to say this, but I think he's dropped the ball here. Surely, with only a handful of laps to go, you would go for the soft tyre. Even Giraffe going for a set of mediums. So Jamie Tarquin thinking he can hold on to this with the medium tyres, but we saw evidence of this at the beginning of the race. We saw just how effective the soft was against the medium tyre. Surely it's not the correct decision after leading this entire race. Going for a grand slam was Jamie Tarquin. He might get a grand slam in the side of his face and really rattle his cortex with what on earth are you doing? Little water break for me, and now that we've done that, let's run through the current running order. Jamie Tarquin in first has led every lap so far in this race, hoping he can keep that record up, but he is on the mediums. Thanassi in P2 with Wilco completing your podium line out so far. Number 4 is Buck 20, number 5 is Giraffe, number 6 is Terziak. Cash in number 7, please, Mr. Magico. Without a penalty, though, crucially. The 3 ahead of him, dude. You can have another 4th place today, and that would be a hell of a result, wouldn't it? Buck 57 in P8, 9th is Vulcan, 10th is Stark with Maximus Slam and Big Samuel, rounding out your running order for the time being. For those of you that have just joined or have just tuned back in, welcome to the Blackout Racing League and welcome to the closing stages of the Austrian Grand Prix. King Dede met Barrier, unfortunately, and that does not yield big points or any good result in particular, to be honest with you, because Barrier is a bastard. So as a result, it means we're under safety car. I thought everyone would pit for softs. I was wrong. I was very wrong. In fact, mediums was apparently the way for some people, as safety car is in this lap. Well then. Now we'll see if the mediums can cut the mustard, or if the softs will side through the opposition. That's what Thanassi, Wilco, and Buck20, who are snapping at Jamie Tarquin like hungry sharks, that's what they'll be hoping for. Thanassi waiting back a little bit here, hoping he can slam on the throttle at the right time and be as close as he possibly can be here. He gets very close to Jamie Tarquin indeed. Bit of weaving from Mr. Tarquin as away he goes, and that did catch Thanassi unawares. Look at that, 8 temps already through the final 2 corners, and away we go once again. It's Wilco actually that looks really menacing. Slipstream deployed, 1.2 seconds the gap. Thanassi was not ready whatsoever. Computer skill issue, I want to die. So, can we please go back to the fun? Why? Let me back. I can only assume there's raucous battling. No, there isn't. We carry on, and hardly anyone apparently has a gap. Thanassi's apparently 8 seconds behind Jamie Tarquin. Codemasters, you need a new guide dog. Jamie Tarquin, oh my god, look at that gap. Hang on, let me just double check. Yes, we're not lagging out. This is real life, as Thanassi actually goes wide there. Oh my word, it's all happening here. And 3 and 4 are looking ever more vicious towards the end of this race. Jamie Tarquin, your leader then, has got a good gap between himself and Thanassi, but for how much longer? Now Thanassi has to put on the burners, use up as much battery as possible, and really set out a statement. Again, though, he's pushing hard. He's just missing apexes that tiny bit, and that can add up. It can make all the difference. Jamie Tarquin with another fastest lap, by the way. He really is going for the Grand Slam in this race. 1.7 seconds is your gap, with only 3 tours of the Spielberg circuit to go. Looking further back, though, it's actually Vulcan that could be on the move here. Magico, remember, has no penalties. He is staying well within sight of P4 in this race. Only 1.4 seconds off Giraffe, so it's not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. Already, though, that 1.7 second gap is cut down to a 1 second gap. Look at how Thanassi is pushing. He's used so much battery, and he's using even more of it. He knows that DRS is enabled next lap. He knows that this is his only, probably one of his final chances. In fact, it probably is one of his final chances because there's only 2.5 laps to go. But outside of a second, Jamie Tarquin trying to defend this. I mean, Thanassi has less battery. So, Jamie Tarquin can, I mean, obviously he probably won't know this, but he can use this to his advantage. Meanwhile, Wilco slips outside of a second of the front 2. Jamie Tarquin now puts on the burners a tiny bit. Thanassi, though, retaliates and counteracts that and does have DRS. So, what's your metal worth, boys? Let's find out. DRS being deployed. ERS being deployed all the while. Jamie Tarquin doesn't have to do anything, no. Look at how late and confident Thanassi is on the brakes. Unbelievable. It's almost unrivaled confidence as Vulcan gets past Magico. Look at this. The Haas driver really going for it. He gets the move done, but Magico now with DRS. Gonna look to the inside, showing the nose. Could get late on the brakes and go for it. He doesn't. Well, he does actually. Vulcan leaves the space. Respect between these two is almost unmatched, but it's Stark. Look at him go. Yes, Stark, what a move that is, as he has the racing line for the next corner, and away he goes in search of yet more points in this race. Fantastic move. Last lap of the Grand Prix, though. You thought it was going to be simple. Oh, hell no, it's not going to be simple, my friend. 3 DRS zones. Jamie Tarquin has to survive 3 DRS zones in order to try a bit of a slide from Thanassi. That can just alleviate the pressure a tiny bit. Jamie Tarquin's used all of his battery here. And is that what he wants to do? Thanassi shows the nose to the inside. A bit wide there, but surely the traction will be good. He has enough battery to give it a go. Is the gap small enough? He's really got some overspeed. Jamie has to defend to the inside. It's not enough. Through goes Thanassi down the inside. And no, he's gone wide. No, Thanassi. He's tried everything. He's got a few corners left, though. It's not over yet. Jamie Tarquin has a few corners left to defend this. And suddenly... Oh, no! No, No, Thanassi's off! I don't believe it! Thanassi pushed to the very bitter end, but it will be this man. He's led from start to finish. He never looked like relinquishing the lead. Jamie Tarquin wins the Austrian Grand Prix. An absolutely superlative drive from the Ferrari man. He's made me lose my voice today, but for all the right reasons. That was absolutely phenomenal. Thanassi spins his way across the line to claim P11 in the end. Buck 57 gives him a good kiss on the lips. And it ends off with his cheek being torn clean off. And I'm going to have a water break quickly. Holy mother of God. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. He's done it again. Jamie Tarquin. Thanassi's left the session straight. I have no idea what happened there. Just a mistake on his end, I think. He wasn't close enough. Jamie Tarquin did everything he needed to do. Kept it consistent. Big Sam sounds like he's at the bottom of a river meanwhile. Anyways. What a race. Incredible stuff. Terziak, by the way, did claim the final podium position, courtesy of the penalties everyone else received. And that was the end of that. Thank you, Mr. Guardian, for following. Thank you to Maximus as well for following. I appreciate you both very much indeed. What an absolutely ludicrous set of affairs at the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. Jamie Tarquin wins in unbelievable fashion. That is fantastic. Captain Wilco takes P2 in the end. Terziak third. Giraffe claims P4. Magico claims P5. Buck 20. Stark and Vulcan P6, 7 and 8. Slam and Big Sam complete your top 10. Thanassi in 11th. Maximus in 12th. Buck 57 in 13th with King Didi and Guardian rounding out your final lot. But my God, for Thanassi just crumbling under the pressure at the very last moment. He hardly ever does that. That's a 1 in a million sighting. That 1 in a million chance did come to fruition. And in the end, well, there you go. Amazing. No pence, I got 5th. You should be bloody impressed with yourself, my friend. A 4th and a 5th place today. Congratulations. Is that my button to talk? I can't remember. What's my push to talk button? No one can hear me anyway, probably. They've all got their mute on. Doesn't really matter. Slow and Steady wins a few places. You know what? It wins more than a few places. It wins big points. And that's all you really need to know. Right. My God almighty. Guardian says, let's go, Jamie, my boy. Space Ghost says, run, run, start, got to make the gap. Lots of people had to make the gap today. Lots of plethoras of track limit penalties, to say the least. My word, it all happened today. Woo! I can stop losing my voice now. I can actually speak normally now, which is great. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a week of Blackout. After what happened at the week, which should have been Brazil and Spain, my God, did the racing this week pay us back handsomely. We got absolutely blessed with all of the racing that was on display. Incredible cutthroat battles, moments of chaos, pure drama at times. But in the end, well done to your winners for today of the Canadian Grand Prix, Mr. Terziak, and of the Austrian Grand Prix, kept it together at the last lap. It was Jamie Tarquin. Fantastic stuff. You can't write league racing this good. You can't write league racing this uncontroversial either. You can't write league racing this clean. And that's all you really need to know about the Blackout Racing League every Monday at 8 o'clock. Plug. Don't miss it on a Monday. Yeah, there you go then. Let's run down what we saw today, and then we shall call it a night, I say. So, Canada was chaos, pretty much. In the end, pole position went to Terziak, the only man to get into the 1 minute 9. Thanassi just missing out in the end. But it was Captain Wilco at the start who absolutely flew off. Seemed to make the most of the DRS train as well between him and Terziak as they managed to prize themselves away from the clutches of the AlphaTauri man, the championship leader. But in the end, the safety car came out, and then a few more came out, and I wasn't very happy. But when it came down to it, at the end of the day, Thanassi, with that drive-through penalty and the final safety car, what could have been a surefire race win, suddenly turned into a comeback king story. What a comeback it was as well. Yes, the Canada pit lane did bless him handsomely, being able to cut through those first two corners, but also the driving, the standards on display were absolutely phenomenal. Took advantage of the chaos ahead of him at times, but made the moves when he needed to, and absolutely executed them to perfection. P3 for that man. Terziak won the race. Buck 20 though. God damn, he didn't go without a fight. Took the sword to one Leviathan in the championship leader earlier on, and then did the same to Terziak later on. A very, very commendable effort indeed from Mr. Buck 20. And you know what? I'll show you my fez again. Where did I put it? Me. Hi. Austria. What in the name of God was that? That was choppy and chaotic from the outset. My God. Kudos to Jamie Tarquin, obviously winning the race and keeping it, that's not a word. Keeping it together all the way through until the very end. And that's exactly what he needed to do. I said the mediums probably wasn't an inspired decision, and I thought Thanassi was going to breeze through. I was wrong, and I apologise for not recognising his game sooner. But, I mean, yeah, it was just an incredible drive. You can't really put it down to anything else other than that. He led almost every single opportunity. Does that technically make it a Grand Slam? Despite the fact he was overtaken? Technically would, wouldn't it? But then he didn't get... I don't think he got fastest... No, he didn't get fastest lap. It's not a Grand Slam at all. I'm sorry, it was almost a Grand Slam. That's like saying you got the second best drawing or the second best... Like, you were that close, but not close enough. I've got such a snuffly nose now. I think commentating's made me ill. Because I feel like I've lost my voice. No! God damn it, man. But when the racing's that good, you can't help but not lose your voice. That's the whole point. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's really much to say, to be honest with you. Other than, well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. What else is there to say? Blackout. Love you guys. Love you, Blackout. Go and say nice things about Blackout. Yeah, they're amazing. I love you too, Magico, my darling. Edie sent a dog. Why is that dog looking sad? That dog is looking sad, or is that just me? Don't look sad. Be glad. Be glad because you saw some great racing. Yeah, credit to all the drivers. I mean, for the most part, it was very clean and fantastic racing, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. Kept it all together. Gave me lots of dramas to talk about, lots of chaos to conclude, but also plenty of balmy battles to mull over, and ones that I will mull over for the rest of the night. Anyways, like I was saying, thank you once again to Blackout Gaming for allowing me to commentate. It's a pleasure as always. I mean, I genuinely can't think of anything else I would want to be doing with my Monday. I can't speak. I'm on speed dial. I'm on Spinal Tap or something. I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing with my Monday evening. That's what I was going to say. It's just buckets of fun. And when you have racing like this, it just makes it all the more worth it, you know, doesn't it? You can't do much better than that. And what else is there to say? My YouTube channel, KarlsCars. If you haven't subscribed, go and subscribe. It's a good channel. You'll enjoy it. But also, all of the VODs and all of the goings on in Blackout are uploaded to a playlist there. It's called Commentary. If you click on that, it will be all of the Blackout commentaries and streams that I have ever done on there. So even you can check out Season 1's streams on there. So if you want to clip some footage up, if you want to reminisce about the good times, you can go and do that. But all that remains for me to say is thank you to Blackout for allowing me to commentate. Well done to all the drivers for all of the crazy and commendable racing tonight. Thank you all for watching. Join us next time, Monday at 8 p.m. next week. We are heading to... Let's have a look at it quickly while we are here. Why not? There we go. We are heading off because it's the Las Vegas race weekend. We are heading to Las Vegas for a sprint race and to the British Grand Prix. And for those of you that remember the British Grand Prix, the first red flag in Blackout, a proper red flag, not including Australia this year, because that was balls on a wall. But we shall hopefully enjoy all of the chaos and all of the fun very, very soon indeed. For now, though, I bid you farewell. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Until next time, I will see you very, very soon, everybody. Take care. Have an awesome rest of your day. And bye-bye for now.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. I